Sometimes we forget why we're here. It's easy to fall off track. These help us remember.
These bad eyes don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These bad eyes.
Growing up I had a dream, something no one else could see. Tell me what it means when your faith is falling beneath your knees and you can't breathe. Everything you see reminds you of what you're not or something you won't be. You gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in a business. Not because they wanna do it, just because they heard it pays. And who the fuck wants to be poor knowing that's how we've been raised? Society is getting heavy, I can feel the weight. The pressure of success is like 100 million pounds of shame. And that's the reason I'm staying up late, trying to find a way to escape the stereotypes. This day and age is making me feel like the only way I'll be happy is getting signed to a label and making money through rapping. I wanna share my emotion because this world is attacking the very principle of life that lets the people be happy. If you don't have a reason to breathe, why even live? These battle scars are impressions of everything that it is.
Don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Now, if I had a voice that reached 100 million people, I'd tell them there's a reason that we're all created equal. Cause some decide to be great and some decide a sequel to an average person's life is simply what they want to be. So you make your decision, all I know is what I'm given. Won't define the life I lead or the way I dwell in existence. I've seen a greater image on the walls of where I'm living, and the words twisted and scripted remind me of something written. Faith is a gift that is given down to the people. If one believes it, one receives it. It's given if it is needed. Don't ever think you're trapped in a life that you never wanted. Your options are infinite, that's some mathematical logic. I'm not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers and these battle scars on my church. Not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers, these battle scars on my church.
Don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Hello, everyone. How are you doing? Are you excited? I'm excited. Oh my God, excited in like a I'm going to go view a horrible movie kind of excited. Like a real bad like horror flick. Like you know that you're just, I don't know, like you're going to Gore Fest 2022 or something. I'm not so sure I want to relive this meeting. I'm just cleaning up some garbage here. My ADHD is gone. And look at the decor. Nice, huh? I'm getting fancy. I'm getting super fancy on you guys. Maybe I scoot over a little bit. There you go. Then you can see the decor even better. Hello, Steven. So before we get started, there is the shameless grifting along the bottom. If you enjoy... Yeah, Brody, I know. That's the way I feel, too. I'm kind of like, don't make me relive this. If I tell you now, I can't even re-listen to the September removal, the December excommunication of me. Be out, you pink-haired heretic witch. I get it. It's that meeting is very traumatizing. I have a feeling listening to this one's going to be very traumatizing again, even though it didn't directly affect me. But Paul, I agree with you right here. Paul says it was Christmas morning and Chris Crawford was Santa. Indeed. Wow. Whoa. Wow. It was a bad meeting. It was a very bad meeting. But we'll go over it. But the shameless grifting, before I do, and just a little bit of news, please, if you can, consider becoming a patron. You know, my ultimate goal is to be doing liberty activism full-time. that was really struck home with me today. Exciting potential opportunity that you guys can participate in by supporting me. If you believe in what I'm doing, if you believe it's a important voice to have, even if you don't always agree with me. I don't always agree with me. I was approached today by someone who wants to assist me perhaps in getting my radio show on national markets. That would be freaking exciting. But of course, radio today's all brokered, meaning you pay for your time and you get advertisers to pay. If you know somebody who's interested in some national advertising, I have a niche that's not filled. Not only, how do I even put this? Because it's hard for me sometimes even to describe my niche, but I think my dedicated listeners know it. You know, it's like pornography. You know it when you see it. But there is no very national, hardcore, big L, partisan libertarian voice out there. There's a bunch of conservatives pretending like there's libertarians. There are actual libertarians, but they're not partisan for the LP. We need a partisan. We need the frickin', I want to compare myself to somebody terrible, but like be the good one. Like who's somebody who's really popular in like Republican circles, but is like super partisan? I can't even think. I'm thinking of a guy on Fox, not the guy who got Hannity. We need the Sean Hannity of the LP, so it'd be good. Like he is so frickin' partisan for the Republican Party. Well, I want to be that for the LP. But also call them out when they're bad, which I do a lot of, which Hannity doesn't do with the Republican Party, at least not that I've seen. Perhaps he does. As you can tell, I'm not a huge like Hannity fan or anything like that. I know enough about him to get like an idea for what his shtick is. But yeah, we need that. And I think I can do it. And I think I could get a lot of attention. And I think if this happens before Reno, I could shame the fuck out of this LNC. So, what's the barrier? The barrier is I need more time. You can't manufacture time, but you can manufacture money so that you don't have to, manufacture money was the wrong thing. That's the government's job, not my job. I didn't mean manufacture in the way the government does. I meant the only way I get more time is if I spend less time doing things that aren't party related. So I am, so if I could cut down on my day job or eliminate my day job, then I have more time for this. And the way I get that time is from y'all's support. So that's just a very, I'll listen to your show after mine, Justin. Let me put this up here, though, so people know. Don't go abandon me for Justin, but listen to his after mine. And if you're not subscribed to O'Donnell for Liberty, please go and subscribe. And he's not even one of my advertisers, but I advertise for good shows, and Justin O'Donnell's show is excellent. Go subscribe, go listen, but just not right this second. Yeah, Harlow's Money Machine go burr. I wish I could just print it. So, yeah, you could partner with me, though, in me perhaps becoming a more national voice. And I'm sure the LNC would love that. They would just love my voice getting amplified. They don't know what they did when they activated the martyr card. They do not know at all. And hello, The Road to Providence with David Brady. So, we're not going to talk too much more in the intro because we've got a long, very painful LNC meeting to go through. I was trying to decide, should I download it and start and stop it? But it was taking forever to download. And see, look, I do have my nails done nicely. As you can tell, my arm's healing a little bit if I've done my nails. But I didn't do my makeup today. So we're going to listen to it on YouTube at 1.5. But I got to go back to Justin, but you did of her talking shit about the Free State. I hope you grabbed her talking shit about LPNH. I know you don't care so much about her talking shit about Mises so much, but I would love to have those two. You know? Yeah, Libertarian against lynching. That is what Justin is talking about. Valenti had her on. What a tremendous lack of judgment on her part. But probably a good thing on his part, because he'll get more views from that video than probably for his entire YouTube career. Because this is going to sound really catty and bitchy, but what the fuck? I feel like a catty little bitch today. His show is boring. So this is probably the most interesting show he had. And Libertarian against lynching. Ass. Did anyone else get censored in the LP YouTube channel chat room during yesterday LNC meeting about the drama llama? I don't know, because I was in the regular chat. I was in the, and we're going to talk about it, I was in the chat room for the Zoom meeting. Yeah, David Valenti, man, that dude is like a walking Ambien pill, man, but bigger. Yes, I did make a fat joke. I joke about my fat ass all the time. Okay, so we're going to now pull up that video. Let me lay out what you're about to watch. Give you my pity ahead of time. And then we'll watch the video. So this was last night. The LNC had a discussion meeting regarding what's going on in the llama drama. So that's what we're calling. It's the Libertarian Association of Massachusetts, but for my own entertainment, I'm calling it the llama drama. Or the drama llama, whatever, one or the other. There's various points of order about what they could or could not do. But in any event, it was a discussion meeting about the llama. Okay. And oh my God, it was pure comedy gold in like a sad way. Like, it was just gold. Like, I thought I was just going to take out clips of this meeting, but there's like, we'll speed past a few parts, but in general, like, this is going to be a long ass video. And that's why I'm going to be playing the LNC one at 1.5 speed, because, oh my God, it's all just gold. You may have noticed in the image for this video, I wish I had it in front of me. You guys can remind me in chat for whatever I forget. But like I said, notorious party staff shit stirrer. I don't think I put that in the thumbnail, but, because YouTube would have censored it. Tara DeSisto was unusually silent or vanished, because she always tries sticking her nose into everything. And I said, Dan Fishman literally just yelled out incoherent things, like he thought he was Perry Mason or something. And literally, Chris Crawford, literally, metaphorically, whatever, she did the equivalent of saying to Will McVeigh, hold my beer. Like, you guys thought Will McVeigh was bad. Chris Crawford made Will McVeigh look like a benevolent, like, Santa Claus. Like just somebody who, like a super nice guy, like someone you'd want your daughter to get married to. Like Chris Crawford, it's like me with the LNC. Every time the LNC does something terrible, I go, they can't possibly get worse. And then next week they get worse. I thought no tyrannitarian could be worse than Will McVeigh. But Chris Crawford managed to do it. She managed to do it. That's a high bar for a low bar, if you know what I mean. That's a very high bar for a low bar, but Chris, you go, girl. I mean, in a way, I got to give you some mad respect for being scummier than Will McVeigh. There was pure gold. And then I also said Richard Longstress started sweating out whether any of his votes would actually be the deciding vote. So he proactively said, well, I'm going to be leaving before any vote. Richard, your cowardice never fails to disappoint. And then John Phillips, he outdid himself. See, I usually look forward to the John Phillips flounce. That's language from my V Bulletin days, but you know, the goodbye cruel message board post. I mean, we still get those on Facebook, you know, the I'm leaving this group. But John Phillips had the I'm not even going to listen to this argument or grace this meeting with my presence flounce. He had that down, and he usually had a few tears with it. I mean, John Phillips was the quintessential LNC drama queen. But he even outdid himself. He pre-flounced. He flounced before the meeting even started. He flounced on the LNC list. I'm not going to this thing. And John Phillips did his very classic, both sides are at fault. You bastards who signed the petition! How dare you! How dare you! You're at fault! What in the world, John Phillips, are you smoking? What are you smoking? Like, what do you make these knives out of that you're huffing that is making you so fucking high that you would say something like that? Oh, I don't. If you look on YouTube, you should see the whole graphic. I'm basically telling you all what it says now, and then I say Dustin Nana is the bomb. Nanaconda has been the bomb for a long time. And I said Joshua Smith is based as fuck. And Stephen Nikala, like, just pointed out just utter hypocrisy and incompetence. Pat Ford and Rich Bowen are badasses. And I said, and Whitney perfected the art of partiality and scowling. Whitney's superpower is resting bitch face. And I know you can't help that. And I'm not calling her a bitch. I'm just saying some men and women just have that look. You can't help it. You can't help it. That's not her fault. But when you know you have a major case of RBF, you either turn your camera off, okay? It's like if you know you're going to be fapping during the meeting, you turn your camera off, you know? If you know you've got resting bitch face, you turn the camera off, or you put a big Post-it note right by your webcam that says smile. It's not her fault. A lot of very nice people, not saying that she's a very nice person, but I'm just saying a lot of very nice people, men and women, have resting bitch face. But oh my God, hers is bad. Like, do you remember that stream? And I wasn't acting when I was looking down and all of a sudden the screen froze on her. I looked up and went, oh, because it's that scowl. My God. Woo. You want to know what freaks me out, Janelle? I think I've said this before, is I actually think, and some people disagree with me, I'm not here to argue about anyone's looks. I think Whitney's a very pretty girl. But who she reminds me of, and this freaks me out because I'm when I'm not doing politics, I'm not doing politics and watching plane crash documentaries, because of course that helps my phobia of flying, and it's so rational. But I watch a lot of true crime, and I got really, really, really into the Chris Watts case here in Colorado. And she's the spitting image in some angles of Shanann Watts. And it freaks me out. It freaks me out because, like, I have so much, like, sympathy and outrage on behalf of Shanann, like what happened to her and the kids. Like, if you don't know about the Chris Watts case, don't get into it, because you'll have nightmares about what that man did to his family. But Whitney, in some shots, is the spitting image of Shanann Watts. And a lot of people said Shanann Watts had resting bitch face too, so maybe that, whatever. But the same hair, like... Good thing Whitney didn't run into Chris Watts, because he probably would have tried to seduce her, because, like, she's, like, definitely his type. But let's now go on. Now that you got the kind of gist of what's going on. Oh, I always forget. Where's the person here to remind me? Please subscribe if you're not subscribed. I don't remember what number I'm at, but I would really like to get to 4,000 subscribers. I'm at like 3,800 and something. And it's been very stagnant for a while because I'm a terrible YouTuber who never asks people to subscribe. So please subscribe. And if you've got like 1 million YouTube accounts, YouTube censors, shut your ears. I didn't tell people to sign up with 1 million YouTube accounts, but if you already happen to have them, subscribe with all of them. They'll figure it out eventually, though, and drop it, but, it'll give me a little ego boost. But please like, and even if you don't like it, dislike it. I don't care. Engage with this video. Like it, dislike it, share, subscribe. Last thing, all super chats matter. I really, have depleted my campaign fund because I bought like tickets to Plain Fare and all of that. Now I need to get myself in DL to more conventions. And we buy, if they're reasonable, convention tables at these conventions. So you're also, through proxy, supporting state parties because a lot of the money I raise then gets turned around and given to states to buy a convention ticket or things like that. And you're also helping the economy. Anyway, I'll say anything right now to whore for money. But yeah, I need to raise a bit more for my campaign. I'm about 75% of the way there. It costs a lot to run for LNC. One day after the run, I'll do a show on it. But now let's go. Hopefully someone will have pity on me and give me some super chats, please. I'm crying. No, I'm really not, but tip your waitress. Okay, so let me share my screen. Hopefully I'm going to do this right. I am such a terrible YouTuber sometimes. Okay, so I am going to first hit share screen. Hopefully there's no porn. Good. None of my lesbian midget porn is up. Okay, now the LNC meeting is up. Great. Hello, Julian. Oh, and I'm glad one of my mods is here. We seem to have one of those link spammers, if you could catch them when you get a chance. We're going to start playing this. But before we do that, I want to get my image up here. Y'all want to see my beautiful face, don't you? How do I do this? So if I go back to here, 1 second. I know you're not seeing the screen right now. And then ooh, that's not good. How do I fix this? Okay, I removed one of them. Now I need to change this to... I'm such a terrible... Here we go. All right, now you can see me. Yay! And if I move that... Okay, let's see now if I share my screen. If everything's fixed. No, you can't see me. Screw it. Oh well, we'll just flip-flop back and forth. Let's play the video. I'm not going to keep fucking with this. So here we go. It's at 1.5 speed. I'm going to stop it and talk when it's necessary to stop it and talk. I will be putting a lot of comments up on the screen. This is an interactive show. There's a lot of people watching. Super chats, please. Okay, let's get started.
The situation with our Massachusetts affiliate. So I will call this meeting to order at this time.
Oh, and 1 second. If you guys can't hear this, please let me know. I already see I need to turn up the volume. That the volume on this stream isn't very good. So this is system audio. Let me turn that up. This is as loud as it. You do see me lower left. You see me now though, but you don't see me when she's up, right? Don't matter. Let's just go. Do you see me lower left now? Did I not share my screen? I am such a fucking idiot. Hold on. You guys should go, yeah, we want to give you super chats so you can get trained on this frickin' program, right? There. Are you guys seeing the LNC thing now or no?
We are going to start with public comment.
No, you're not.
10 minutes of public comment, 1 minute per speaker. So with that, I believe Dan Lewis is first on the list.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. So first of all, I think this meeting is pretty dilatory, which is why I think if the LNC...
Okay, you guys are saying you see me, but not the video. Well, shit. How can I figure this out? I want you to see the video, not me. So let me close me because something's going wrong. I think it's primary display you want to see. Let's try this again.
He wants to get involved
Now
as the
that should be
representative of the
fixed.
Professional Wrestling Caucus. I propose that we have a lumberjack match. And what a lumberjack match is essentially a bunch of people outside of the ring stand outside to watch the competition happen and make sure that it is.
Do you
fair.
guys see
So
the video
if you guys
now?
want to get involved with this? I think we should have a lumberjack match on behalf and sponsored by the Professional Wrestling Caucus. Thank you. That is all.
Thank you.
Okay, Whitney's
Madam Chair,
trying
Mr.
here.
Phillies is asking in the chat how to raise his hand, so I believe he may want to be recognized.
Okay, Mr. Phillies, and for anyone else listening who also has this question, there hopefully on your interface there is a reactions button, and if you click on reactions, there you will find a variety of features. Raising your hand should be one of them. If you are dialing in by phone, that is a different matter, and I know there is a mechanism for which to do it, but I don't know what it is. So, Mr. Phillies, I see you. I see a waving hand. So yes, we will go with that. Mr. Phillies, Tyler.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
George Phillies. I was a member of the Llama State Committee from 2004 to 2018. A substantial part of the bylaws were rewritten under my assistance, in particular the adoption of Francis and Francis as interpreted by the state committee. My advice to you is, one, the petition to have a special state convention was valid in all respects. Two, the action of the state committee to expel the people who signed the petition as a way to identify who the infiltrators were was valid in all respects. And therefore, three, your committee has nothing to do except smile and have a nice evening.
Thank you, Mr. Phillips.
Okay, yeah, now that is definitely not something to brag about. I'm going to try to keep switching back, why isn't, I'm really like having problems tonight for some reason. Let's see. I want you guys to see me now. Now you see me. Okay. Yeah, that's definitely not something to brag about, Mr. Phillies. This is where I said Phillies is now advocating libertarian McCarthyism. So he's right. That petition was valid in every respect. And then he goes, now we smoked him out. Infiltrators, there is such sophistry going on here. They never once define what the crimes are, okay? One thing, I'll give it up to the LNC. At least they pretended to try to make up shit to throw me off. Like, they at least gave me a folder of bullshit evidence. You guys didn't even get a folder of bullshit evidence. So, he does say the petition was valid, and he says it with the quote-unquote authority of somebody who helped write the bylaws. But then to say, then it's okay to throw people out because they exercise their rights under the bylaws, what kind of chilling effect does that have? That is so gross, George Phillies. That is one of the most unethical things I have ever heard. And Brody, you should feel gypped. I'm going to put this up here. You should want a folder of bullshit evidence. The folder of bullshit evidence of me is great. And we're going to be going through that even more because there's some comedy gold in there. And I told you my only regret from that time is I didn't do like, crap, I'm forgetting her name. Jean, help me out. Jean, help me out. The lady they tried to throw off from antiwar.com, Angela Keaton. My only regret is I didn't say like Angela Keaton did. I didn't say thank you to the LNC for compiling my best of. But there was just a folder of bullshit evidence. But George Phillies, that has to be one of the most unlibertarian things I have ever heard. Now, I'm not saying you're not a libertarian, because I don't think people are libertarian. I think ideas are. And that idea was one of the most unlibertarian ideas I've ever heard. Shame on you and how dare you. Does that mean if you signed some petition... George Phillies, you signed a petition wanting a JC appeal because you don't like Robert's Rules of Order. Now, what if I thought Robert's Rules of Order was so holy that anyone who opposes Robert's Rules of Order, even though it's not even like a libertarian issue whatsoever, should be thrown out of the party because you are posing a threat to my most holy book? So should I take the petition that you got 10% of delegates to sign. Too bad, so sad, the JC threw you out of court. But, should it be valid now for me to go on a jihad against all of those people who signed your petition because they are infiltrators of the democratic rules of order, which, is just abhorrent to me. Only white supremacists use the democratic rules of order or something stupid like that. So would it be okay, George Phillies, if I had that kind of contempt for people who had your point of view, even though it's perfectly libertarian to not like Roberts or like Roberts. It's orthogonal. It doesn't matter. But because I'm so threatened by you and your group of petitioners, should I be able to use the petition you sent to the JC to do the pink flame of jihad, as was said in chat? How disgusting, George. Shame on you. Absolutely shame on you. And shame on you to say that the LNC should turn its back on that happening. And shame on you for for literally pulling down your old man pants, spreading your ass cheeks, and shitting on 47 members of your own party. And I'm an old lady saying that, so it's not age shaming. This is so ridiculous. But I'm going to take great pleasure in saying this, George. You fucked up when you wrote your bylaws. Because I know your intent was to get rid of Roberts, but I'm going to tell you something now that should make you cry. At least I hope it does. Your bylaws say that you've adopted Francis and Francis. Brody doesn't like the imagery. I don't either. It was in my head and now I shared it with you. Sharing is caring. In your bylaws, you say that you adopt Francis and Francis, or the Democratic Rules of Order, otherwise known as the parliamentary authority to run state committee meetings. You do not adopt it as the parliamentary authority for the entirety of the business of the llama drama. It's only for state committee meetings. That means it's not your parliamentary authority for special conventions. It's not your parliamentary authority for your annual conventions. It's not your parliamentary authority for anything except for the narrow confines of state committee meetings. So you done fucked up, George. You thought you were being clever. So what happens if a situation arises in which your alleged parliamentary authority is silent? You revert to custom. Well, I went through the old bylaws, George, and guess what your custom is for your parliamentary authority? Robert's Rules of Order! I want to sing the theme song from my other show right now. Where's my sound effects? I think maybe we should play this for a minute here. Where is my sound effects? Do I have Robert's Rules of Order here? 1 second. I have airplane. No, I don't. I thought I did. Oh, well, hold on. Yeah, let's play this for a second here. There's going to be a timer going, but I'm just going to show it for a second because I want to play the Robert's Rules of Order song. So we're just going to do the timer in a second, just to have fun.
John Frost looked on the gathered crowd, now 3,000 strong. With heavy heart, his voice rang loud as he sang this loveless song. God is a guide from field, from wave, from plough, from anvil, and from loom. We come our country's rights to save and speak a tyrant faction's doom. We raise the watchword liberty. We will be free. For when the rising tide is turned in every London quarter, Parliament comes crashing down with Robert's Rules of Order.
All right, that was enough of that. I just thought we should play that. There is actually a song called Robert's Rules of Order. But so, George, guess what your parliamentary authority is for everything except for state committee meetings? Roberts. And when it's not Roberts, because let's pretend you reject that, guess what it is? It's general parliamentary law. And guess what 90% of general parliamentary law is? It's Roberts, because it's the gold standard. So you done fucked up, George. The Democratic Rules of Order is only the parliamentary authority for state committee meetings, and where it's silent, guess what you're ruled by? Robert's Rules of Order. You done fucked up. You ain't half as smart as you think you are. Let's continue, shall we, with this wonderful meeting. And maybe I'll figure out how to put me on the screen. I'm not so sure we even need to necessarily I don't even think we necessarily need to see them, do we? Maybe we do. I don't know. But yeah, they could, JJ. I'm just letting George know he's not as clever as he thinks he is. So basically, they're under Roberts for everything except for their state committee meetings, with some narrow exceptions where Roberts doesn't follow general parliamentary law. And, you know, maybe it's just me, but I'd rather have a definite book to point to rather than just some ephemeral general parliamentary law. Way to go, George. Way to fuck up Llama. Good job. Okay, let's go back. Yeah, JJ, I was quoting you in that the last rules in force are the custom. I didn't mean to do Zoom. We don't want Zoom. But let them argue about it. It's just that George done fucked up.
Likewise, I hope you do the same. Nicholas Sarwark, I presume.
Yes. Thank you, Ms. Bilyeu. 1 minute is the limit?
That is correct.
Okay. My name is Nicholas Sarwark. As some people may know, I served as chairman of Libertarian National Committee from 2014 through 2020, 3 consecutive terms. We had the experience many times during my tenure of state parties seeking national involvement in their internal disputes. Usually one side or the other feels like they got the short end of the stick and wants national to get involved. It was our policy during those 6 years of the LNC that the answer was that the bylaws do not allow the LNC to get involved in state party affairs, and we stayed out of them. As some people may know, the Oregon situation took multiple years and appellate courts to resolve, and other state party situations have not been helped. The best thing that the committee could do tonight is to adjourn the meeting at which business could be conducted and postpone until, and leave the Zoom open for people to gather the information, get a written motion, and then put that motion to the LNC special counsel to determine whether or not legally the LNC can do it without getting the judicial committee involved or going outside of their bylaws. That would allow the entire committee to review the evidence from the video proceeding that would be recorded without pushing into a hasty decision that might get them back in trouble. Thank you very much.
Okay, we're going to stop there and we're going to address that. I partially agree with Nick. My views on this have somewhat evolved over the years. With becoming more experienced. Our bylaws say that national shall not interfere in the autonomy of an affiliate. What exactly is the autonomy of an affiliate is left up to interpretation. I don't think it's that difficult to interpret. I do think there are some gray areas. And it also says they can't disaffiliate within 6 months of the convention. But not interfering in the autonomy of an affiliate does not mean you can't do anything. It means you can't interfere in the autonomy of an affiliate, which is nothing. People seem to have conflated not interfering in the autonomy of an affiliate except as otherwise provided by these bylaws, that's actually the complete sentence, with do nothing. And it's not a binary choice like that. There's a whole middle ground of a lot of things you could do. Let's just rattle some things off you could do. They could issue a statement condemning the actions of the board. The LNC is allowed to have an opinion. They can't order the state board to do anything. Potentially. I think I would fall on the side of that. But they could censure the state board. They could commend the state board. They could issue a resolution that Massachusetts is the greatest state in the union. I mean, there's a lot of things they can do. They could make recommendations. They could make strong suggestions. They could recommend that the next LNC, and it's just a recommendation, consider disaffiliation at the meeting that's held immediately after the adjournment of the Reno Convention. They could do that. There's a lot of things they could do. Beth Vest was shooting her mouth off in comments saying there's nothing you could do. I'm sorry, Beth, you're wrong. And Beth, you could learn a lesson from Alex Flores. I got a little frustrated with Alex, but Alex, not this night. I'm going back in history right now. Alex, when he first got on the LNC, because Chris is basically good for nothing, I wanted Alex to do some things. And you want to know what Alex said to me? I'm brand new, and I think I should keep my mouth shut for a while and kind of just observe what's going on and figure out what the hell I'm doing before I open my mouth and make an ass out of myself. Well, Beth, I think you need to take Alex's advice, because you took no breather to try to get the lay of the land. And I cannot tell you how many people wrote me and are like, who is this chick? Like, why is she jumping in like this all ignorantly? Ignorantly. The LNC cannot disaffiliate. Well, okay, there is some nuance there. Maybe I am getting, Libertarian JRT, explain what you mean. Because I might be arguing against a point you're not making. But for Nick also to suggest that they should refer this to the LNC Council? You mean the same LNC Council, the last time we had a meeting that had something to do with the bylaws, that he didn't even bother to read the bylaws? That guy? You mean the LNC Council, who claimed to have a written parliamentary opinion saying that that our bylaws allowed an electronic convention when it clearly doesn't? And then when I, as an LNC member, asked to see that written opinion, since we're paying for it, refused to give it to me? That General Counsel? Oliver Hall is great at ballot access cases. And he's probably great at a lot of other things. He is fucking fantastic at ballot access cases. But you want to know what Oliver Hall sucks at? Parliamentary procedure and our bylaws. Libertarians Against Lynching asks an interesting question. I think this gets in. I don't know the answer to it. I'd love to hear all of you all. Could the LNC pass a resolution recommending that delegates to the upcoming national convention vote not to seat the Lama-appointed delegation? I think they could. Do I think they should? Do I think that would be highly unethical? Do I think that would be way beyond the pale? Yeah. I think they probably could, but I would never advocate that. The LNC needs to be hands-off when it comes to the delegates. And, right, I agree with Brody. But I think they could do it, but I don't think they should. Like, that would be terrible. That would just be terrible precedent. Yeah, Richard Brown. Oliver is great on some things, but he sucks on part because he's not trained in it. And as you all know, I'm a paralegal. I know, like, it's almost like I reread again today, because I want to be very familiar with it, the Code of Ethics for Parliamentarians, and I was very interested in where it intersected with the Code of Ethics for attorneys. And one of the things on there is, if someone presents a question to you that you don't think you're qualified to answer, either through research or your resources, you have an ethical obligation to bow out. And I've had people, even when I'm not quote unquote retained by them, ask me a parliamentary question where I said, I'm not qualified to even begin to even research that. Oliver Hall, as an attorney, I believe, Well, I've said this before. I said this in 2016. I believe Oliver Hall committed malpractice in 2016 when he did not advise the LNC that there was an eternal secrecy clause in the Gary Johnson contract, and he said it was all good for us to sign. Was it harmful? Like, did it cause us any harm? No. But technically, I do think he committed malpractice. Opining on our bylaws and parliamentary law when you're not qualified to do it, and then claiming you got professional written parliamentary advice, and then refusing to show your client your source material, that's malpractice as far as I'm concerned. Am I going to be reporting him? No, because I snitches get stitches. I ain't going to do that, but I could have my opinion. Okay, Libertarian JRT, but it is 6 months before the convention. So yeah, they can disaffiliate Llama except 6 months before the convention. The 6 month, blackout started November 29th. So the current LNC cannot disaffiliate Llama. But where I thought you were going, and Alex brought this up later, but we could talk about it a little now, and I'll just refer to this conversation when we get there. Yeah, so Libertarian JRT, I was saying this LNC could pass a resolution recommending that the next LNC at the meeting at Reno immediately after adjournment of the convention consider disaffiliating Llama. They could do that. And I think Oliver is more than very good on things than ballot access. I think Oliver Hall is excellent at ballot access. But as good as he is at ballot access, that's how bad he sucks at our bylaws or parliamentary procedure. Now, here's an interesting question. I would love to know the parliamentarians' position on this. Won't hold you to it because, just curious. So Libertarians Against Lynching says perhaps delegates should do that on their own. Object to Llama's delegation being seated, and vote. Oh, never mind. This isn't the question that I thought you were going to ask. They can do that. I'm just going to against lynching. Yeah, you can do. They can do that. But here's my question to Richard and JJ. Can the convention? I'm not saying I want them to do this. This is a theoretical question, so don't have a heart attack, Brody. Because people have asked me this about a lot of states. Can the convention disaffiliate an affiliate? This question actually came up for me in a state wanting to do something, but whatever. There's a lot of analogies here. Can the convention disaffiliate an affiliate? I don't think they can they? Because our bylaw, Mike, I used to think that, but I don't think they can. JJ and Richard. Can the convention disaffiliate an affiliate? The bylaws say how an affiliate can be disaffiliated. And it's through action of the LNC. Because of that, I don't think the convention can do it without amending the bylaws. I've been giving it a lot of thought, and I don't think the convention can disaffiliate an affiliate. So, just curious. Yeah, Mike, I agree with you. I'm talking about without amending the bylaws. I mean, without any other changes, can the convention disaffiliate an affiliate? I don't believe they can. But I'm willing to be persuaded otherwise. And my reasoning is because there's specific language on how to do it in the bylaws. And because there is specific language on how to do it, other avenues are foreclosed unless the bylaws are amended. But we're assuming here the bylaws aren't amended because people have asked me that, and I don't think they can do it. So Nick, you're just smoking crack here. All right, so let's go back. Oh crap, I didn't switch my screen. Well, I'm not going to switch my screen. Let's just listen. We're listening right now. Because I don't think we need to see every... Oh, she's doing the RBF. She's doing the RBF hard. Oh, no audio playing? Hold on. You guys are saying no audio is playing. Let me try this. Why isn't audio playing? I see that no audio is playing. I've got to share the screen in order for audio to play. All right. Okay. You guys can tell I'm a professional here, aren't I? Show all windows. Let's go back to this screen. My bad. I'm sorry. Let's actually share that screen then. Sorry about that. Thank you for letting me know.
Hit the hammer down, the gavel down on anybody or with the state. This is a request for a diplomatic endorsement and just a communication. Thank you so much, Madam Chairwoman.
Thank you. Is there anyone else seeking to be recognized during public comment? Mr. Harris, are you keeping time?
I am not keeping time unless instructed to keep time.
Okay.
I have been keeping time, Madam Chair.
Okay. How much time is left in public comment?
How much time did we have set?
10 minutes.
We have 5.5 minutes left.
Right. Alex is making me motion sick,
Mr.
man.
Phillies, I did see a hand up just now, and then it went away. Do you still have something to say?
Yeah, JJ, I agree with you. So the convention, without amending the bylaws, cannot disaffiliate.
Yes, sir.
I will make one other point since Oregon was raised, and before that there was Arizona, which goes back a while. In both of those cases, the state parties, the groups that were not happy with the LNC, sort of sat there in their state and allowed things to resolve one way or the other internally. It appears to me that at least one of the Delaware groups, if the LNC were to act against them, would, and the Massachusetts is in the same boat, I suspect, may not be content to sit in their own state, and this would cause all sorts of national problems. So,
okay, George, that made no sense, and you are absolutely wrong when it comes to Oregon. Arizona is way before my time, and yeah, Tyler Harris is such a cutie pie. He is a snappy dresser, and I love like the neatly trimmed facial hair. But no, George is absolutely correct, and plus, you do the right thing. You know, you don't screw those 47 members, you know. George, now here's what's interesting. George, you are such a consequentialist here. Why didn't you do that when it came to my removal? The consequences of that, which we are starting to see play out. Oh, you're only that way when it's convenient to you. I get it, George. Go sit on a cactus.
possibly staying out of this would be good. That's my advice. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Who is that?
This is Ken Mullen.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say if there are no other hands raised, I would move that we move along in our agenda.
Second.
Right. There have been no other people interested in speaking during public comment. We've got a motion to end it and move on with our agenda. It has been seconded. Is there any objection to that? Hearing no objection, on we go. Ms. Hogarth, I see your hand is up for regular business.
And I'm just reminding everybody, this is, I believe, on 1.5 speed. Yeah, so if it seems a little rushed, that's why.
Yes, I'm not sure if we've taken roll yet.
Oh, no, that's a good point. We have not. Is the secretary here?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, the secretary is here, and that isn't who spoke, Ms. Bilyeu. But you guys don't worry about that.
Ken, are you ready for a roll?
I will be.
That wasn't my comment, by the way.
I know. I know, sorry. But thank you for picking up on that. We'll get right back to you. Whenever you're ready, Mr. Wilford.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's go
Copy and paste
past
them.
this.
Once I find it.
I'm going to go playback speed 2 to get past this quickly.
Copy.
But the LNC, Richard, are the only ones who can disaffiliate. So I think functionally it is saying it can't be disaffiliated.
Hagen.
Here.
I'm here. FT.
I'm trying to get past this.
FT. Launch. Ferreira.
He takes so long to do basic shit. Come on. Come on. Okay.
Ms. Hogarth, you were saying.
Yes,
I'm leaving it at 2 point.
Confine this meeting to no more than 1 hour from now. That would be.
No, that's too fast. Let me see if I could put this at. Nah, I'm going to put it back at 1.5. Otherwise, some people are going to sound like chipmunks. Okay, here we go.
8:45 Eastern time.
Objection.
And to answer Lynching's comment, yeah, they could refuse to
Ms.
seat
Hogarth,
delegates.
I heard- Who was that?
Longstreth.
Okay, so we have a motion to essentially limit the time for this meeting to 60 minutes. And it was seconded and there was objection. Ms. Hogarth, would you like to speak to your motion?
Yes. I believe that's plenty of time to allow. I think that there was a list.
Oh,
of
thank you, Ryan.
3 to 5 speakers to allow each of those people to speak and be briefly questioned by.
We don't need this part.
Point out though, or preventing people from maintaining their memberships. As a libertarian who believes that membership.
Okay, let's go back. I went back. I went too far.
The role of the LNC in fixing.
Okay, let's go back.
Yeah, a repetition.
Okay, here we go.
That's plenty of time. And I will point out that this is a Sunday night, and many of us do have 9 to 5s.
That's what you signed up for.
Thank you, Ms. Hogarth. The first objection, I believe, came from Mr. Ford.
Yes, it did. I'd like to point out that I actually have an 8 till about 11 o'clock at night. I'd like to point out that we have chosen to cancel the next in-person LNC meeting, which through the miracle of perhaps remote telecommunications might have been an ideal format for this. But as far as
Yeah, because the LNC said they don't have any business to do. But wait. I thought they had all this business they couldn't do because of that pink-haired bitchy secretary. But yeah, now they go and cancel all of their meetings. Consistency is not their strong point.
we've advocated our responsibility to have a quarterly meeting. And I'd also like to point out that while we can debate earnestly the role of the LNC in fixing the situation, we need to acknowledge the fact that this is the third, and there will soon to be, probably as of tomorrow night, a fourth situation in which one can allege that affiliates are gatekeeping, preventing people from joining or preventing people from maintaining their memberships. As a libertarian,
Pat Ford has been a badass.
It gives you fundamental rights to an organization, and that there should be due process before one membership is revoked. I find this to be dangerous and at least worthy of open conversation where the membership can hear our thoughts on it, regardless of the outcome of the meeting. Thank you.
Okay. It has come to my attention that this motion would require 2/3.
Okay, I want to stop here 1 second because the theme among, and I think I fixed how I can switch between me and the screen here. So let me try to do that first, where I think I could do it so that you guys could see me in these interim things here. Just give me a second. Let me show all windows. Let me go here. Let me hit a new scene. Now, if I hit a new scene, you're looking at the wrong camera. Now you see me here. Now, if I go back a scene, previous scene, yep, we're here. And then here. Okay, I think I figured it out. Let's go.
Approval?
I would rather avoid the hassle of a vote that's going to waste even more time. I withdraw.
It belongs to the body now. So
sorry, then I don't.
So if there's no further discussion on this, we can go to a vote on it.
Okay, she made a mistake there. It does belong to the body, but Whitney could have asked if there was objection to Susan withdrawing her motion. She didn't have to immediately go to a vote like that because I don't think anyone would have objected. I mean, maybe they would have, but what she should have done was asked if anyone had an objection to Susan withdrawing her motion. I mean, she's correct. It belongs to the body, but whatever.
Any objection to proceeding to a vote on this? and essentially dispensing with it. All right, we are now proceeding to a vote on whether or not to limit debate to 60 minutes per Ms. Hogarth's motion. Again, it requires 2/3 to be adopted. Mr. Wilford, how would you like to do this? Roll call as usual?
Yeah, I'll do roll call as usual. I will
Okay,
point out
let's
that,
speed. Let's go past
call
this.
out Representative and Chrissy Adams.
No.
She wasn't here, so.
Okay, there's Farah?
No.
All right.
No.
God,
Mullen?
he's slow.
Nope. Michaela?
Yes.
Ratzep?
It's
Smith?
hard in online meetings, though.
Enough from Smith. I'll vote yes. Madam Chair, it's going to fail either way.
I won't vote.
Okay, I wanted to stop here because this is one thing that, for one thing, that was funny when Whitney called Susan Hogarth me. But the secretary should not be asking the chair if they want to vote. The secretary should just move on. The secretary is only supposed to, in a roll call vote, ask for the vote of the chair if it's to cause or break a tie. He screws this up every time. And in fact, Alicia Matson screwed that up each time. I followed Alicia's example until I found in Roberts where it says the secretary in a roll call, when it's not to cause or break a tie, shouldn't even call on the chair. And so I hope John figures that out eventually.
The vote fails with 4 in favor, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 opposed.
Why
and
don't
abstention.
you have a spreadsheet that automatically
Can you
calculates the
tell me
totals?
How many actual voting LNC members are present? How many do we have actually voting tonight? Because a couple of our at-larges are
Let's
missing. And they
move
do not
past
have
here.
Represented seats.
50. Thank you. No problem. All right. Ms. Sarwark, I had you on deck. Are you over it?
Yes, I'm ready to speak. So we can't act on anything presented tonight due to our own bylaws and also the subject of the meeting, right? And so I'm going to make a motion to adjourn, officially ending the LNC business meeting, but I would suggest leaving the Zoom open for...
Okay, I'm stopping that for 1 second. I'm going to see if this works. Oop, I screwed up. Next scene. Well, I thought I fixed this, but I guess I didn't. I'm an idiot. Okay. Oh, no, I'm right. You're seeing me now. Okay, I've got it. All right. Valerie is both right and wrong here. And right, wrong, let me explain. She's wrong that the LNC can't do anything. She's technically right that no motions could be presented this meeting because it is a specially called meeting and no motions were noticed. So yes. However, and I know custom falls when someone raises an objection, so she's actually more than technically right. She's right here. But the fact is, it's just very convenient to me how when they follow that rule and when they don't. It's very, very convenient. And at the Delaware, it was the November 21st meeting, actually, there was no motions specifically noticed either. And they made a shit ton of motions that night. But all of a sudden, this night, you can't make any motions? That's funny, Valerie. That's really funny. But yes, you are technically right. Okay, now let me see. If we go to the next scene. Oh, nope, that's not it. What am I doing here? Here we go. Okay. Now you guys are going to have to let me know if you hear it.
As long as staff is amenable, for any interested parties. And then should any
really,
motion
Richard?
or decision need to be made, it come through.
Richard, why? I would like Valerie to be wrong here, but I can't justify it at this point.
Business list after being presented to our special counsel.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go past this. They ended up not adjourning. They tried this a million times.
Buffman.
I think.
No. No.
Yes.
No. Okay, let me mark that out now. Hagan.
No.
Longstreth, right?
Correct.
Correct. Abstain on Longstreth. Madam Chair.
Yeah, Longstreth abstained. He's so
Motion
brave.
Fails. 4 in favor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9 opposed and 2 abstain.
All right, so the motion to adjourn fails. Mr. Ferreira, I see you ready to speak.
Yeah, just I guess a point of personal privilege, I would say. I wanted to thank Tyler Harris for giving up yet another weekend to administer one of these meetings for us. When we take the votes to have these meetings, we definitely think of ourselves, but not always of our staff. So thank you very much.
Hear, hear.
Here.
And he already did this for the Judicial Committee as well earlier today, which was scheduled without the consent.
Okay. Oh, let me finish what let's go back a bit here, because what she says here just really gets me upset.
Hear, hear.
Here.
And he already did this for the Judicial Committee as well earlier today, which was scheduled without the consideration of any of us. So.
Oh, dear me. Oh, dear me. Oh, poor Whitney. Hold on. Let me go to my next scene here. Where's my next scene? Hold on. I had it. Now y'all can see me right. Poor Whitney. You screwed over Delaware, and then when those upstarts dared to appeal your schedule, they didn't consult with you, Your Highness. Now listen, I do all thanks to staff, though it's part of their job. Tyler's not hourly, he's salary. That's what happens. You know, but I always believe in thanking staff when they're not doing things like Tara DeSisto does. But for Whitney to get all huffy that the JC didn't consult with the LNC on their schedule. Well, they didn't consult with me either, Whitney, and I've done more work on the Delaware issue than you have. You had to be told there was an issue in Vermont. How is it that I know more about what's going on in the affiliates of this party than the fucking chair of the National Party? How was it a surprise to you, Whitney, that Vermont's about to lose ballot access? How is that a fucking surprise to the national chair? I knew it.
All right. Was that it, Mr. Ferreira?
That was it. Trying to lower my hand.
Ms. Adams.
Yes, I'd like to just go ahead and start jumping right into this by asking Mr. Dan Fishman, who I know is on the call, to just give us kind of a brief overview of the two entities and their relationship to each other in Massachusetts, the two entities being Llama and LP Mass, kind of an introductory primer, if you will, for many members of this board and many members who do not live in Massachusetts, as far as what the statuses of those entities are, how they're filed as separate organizations, how they interact, all of that good stuff. I do think that is pertinent to us.
Yeah, Aaron really...
Another entity using
yeah, let me stop here. Aaron really derailed stuff. I'm going to, let me go to the next scene here, because you all want to see my beautiful face, don't you? It's no secret that Aaron and I are not BFF, but Aaron was on the right side of this issue, and Aaron's one of the few LNC members that have any guts, because she'll come on my stream and interact with me when none of those cowards will. But like, she just got like too smart for her own good or something here. Bringing in Dan Fishman for one thing. George Phillies could have explained this just fine. Dan Fishman is so impressed with himself and thinks like his opinion on everything needs to be heard. And they gave him an open mic like he was an LNC member. You know, it's absolutely insane. But let's continue. Go back. Here we go.
So I would like to hear from Mr. Fishman about that, if we could start there.
Mr. Fishman, are you available?
I am on. I would ask that Ms. Crawford, who has been in the Massachusetts party since the beginning, precede me, as she is more expert than I. And then I just have a bunch of paperwork and documentation that I can show you guys that will explain the separation in greater detail.
I believe Mr. Phillies would be able to speak to this as well. I don't particularly care which individual speaks to it, just that we get a clear understanding of the structure of these two organizations, how they interact, all of that good stuff.
And at first, Janelle, I didn't think this was relevant, but with Alex's questions later, it became very relevant.
We made some changes to the bylaws since George wasn't on the state committee also. So the Massachusetts laws governing what is a political party are extensive and cumbersome, and they don't jibe with the relationship that Llama has with the LNC. So what we do, and I copied this from Washington State, when we did become recognized in 2016 as a political party by the state of Massachusetts, we defined a statutory sub-affiliate that was allowed to use the name Massachusetts Libertarian Party, and that was required to follow the laws of the Commonwealth insofar as it was possible. And that entity became the recognized committee of the party that the state of Massachusetts recognized as the Libertarian Party. And we subsequently kept that status for another 2 years with Dan Fishman's run for auditor. And in 2020, we lost that status. So at this point, in the eyes of the government of Massachusetts, there's no such thing as a Massachusetts Libertarian Party. And there's a zombie bank account that we haven't figured out what to do with that has $1,600 in it that belonged to that party.
So, Ms. Crawford, when I go to the state of Massachusetts website and I'm searching out political parties, it still lists Libertarian Party of Massachusetts. When I click on that link, it redirects me to LLAMA. So at some point, it would appear that the state of Massachusetts is still choosing to recognize LP Mass in some form or fashion.
No, they don't. I mean, they have it on their website, but they don't recognize us as a political party.
I can speak to that directly.
The
as well.
FEC does, but
I can speak,
Massachusetts does not.
Yeah, so I can speak to that directly as well. And if you'd let me share my screen.
Dan is so impressed with himself. But what's interesting here that needs to be explored, and Alex Flores is actually the one who brought this up, is there actually an affiliate right now in Massachusetts? Like this flip-flopping between the entity known as the Libertarian Party of Massachusetts and the entity known as LLAMA? Was there ever any official recognition of this switching by the LNC? I honestly don't know the answer to this. I don't even say, at least at this point, I don't even know if I care. But I do care as a matter of curiosity and dotting the I's. I'm not so sure LLAMA is a recognized affiliate. Later on, George Philly says they have been since the 70s. Dan Fishman also says so. One day when I have extra time, which is never, I really want to read through all of the LP News because the LP News is really good at documenting all the various affiliations, and we have some old minutes. It's not an issue I want to particularly dwell on, but it is a very odd issue. It might turn out, and the only reason it's relevant is perhaps there isn't any entity that can throw anyone out. And perhaps there isn't really an affiliate to send delegates. I actually do think now that's a question that the delegates can deal with because it's not a disaffiliation. I think the delegates can judge whether or not there was ever actually an affiliate during this period of time. Love to know what JJ and Richard Brown think of that. Okay, let's continue here.
Thank you.
Yeah, in fact, I just asked them for the voter list and they won't give it to us because we're not a political party.
So, couple things in here. So first,
okay, we got to stop right here. Chris just said that the state of Massachusetts would not give, and I see I'm peeking into the red here a little, pull down my gain a little bit, would not give the board the voter registration or voter preference list because they're not a recognized thing. But Ashley Shade wrote a letter where she made claims about the voter registration or preference status of the 47 signers. Where did Ashley get that then? Chris just admitted the board didn't get it. And here's what I want to know. Did Ashley get this by virtue of her being an elected official, thereby abusing a privilege? I honestly want to know how Ashley got this list. And I think the LNC should want to know how Ashley got this list. Because the LNC should want to know if one of our public officials is acting in an unethical manner. Because that reflects poorly on us and will affect the elections of other people. And yeah, Janelle, I wonder if a certain LNC staffer whose name may or may not be Tara DeSisto might have that information. I don't know. I don't think so. We don't have that. LLAMA is not in the CRM. They're in the CRM as far as national members go, but they're not in the CRM as far as Massachusetts specific information goes. So if the question is, did Tara somehow breach confidentiality of information that she is privy to because of access to the CRM? No. Now, maybe she got that information some other way. Tyra has a lot of political connections. They can't, no, you can't look it up without, no, the National Party doesn't have access to register. We don't. Just FYI, we don't. Massachusetts voter registration, you have to have the birth date to look it up. From what I understand, and it's illegal, as Brody said, for you to do it for anyone but yourself. But I think you have to have the date of birth as well. So I don't think that's how it's done. Okay, let's continue here, where Dan's just showing off his info.
This is the FEC filing for my 2012 congressional campaign. And as you'll see here listed is the Libertarian Association of Massachusetts. This is the political entity that exists for...
Did you have his birth date, Justin?
We were to review over the last year, the only person who gave any money, according to the FEC, to the Libertarian Association is Daniel Reek, who gave $125 a month. And that is the federal PAC that exists.
In any event, I want to know how Ashley got it.
Go to my page. So this is the Libertarian Massachusetts State Committee.
And the LNC should want to know.
In order to become a major party in Massachusetts, you either have to have 1% of the registered voters be of your party, or win a get over 3% in an election. Let me see if I can shrink this down so I can get to the other screen. I hate you, Zoom. So
hey, let's look at his tabs. Does he have any funny tabs?
It's the PAC that came into existence in 2016 when Gary Johnson got 4.5% of the vote. So at that point in time, that put a bunch of burdens on the state of Massachusetts because the Libertarian Party was now an official state party. The state of Massachusetts was required to list the Libertarians as a choice for your voter registration on their website. It was supposed to, they said that we were supposed to have a primary and essentially the things that major parties have. In 2018,
O'Donnell, we don't collect date of birth so in Colorado for our donors.
The biggest advantage of that was that as a state party, donations had a different category. So when we were just a PAC, donations are limited at, I don't recall the exact number, Chris can probably tell me, but I think it's $1,000.
Yeah, it's the same way in Colorado, Richard, but it's not the same way in Massachusetts.
So we used that ability to put a lot of money into
it's definitely that way in Florida as well.
Gathering other things. Just as a quick example here, you can see my campaign raised $54,000.
Okay, Dan, nobody gives a fuck about your campaign.
Through the state party at the time. After 2020, when we did not get 3% in a statewide election, the state
nobody cares. Let's move. Nobody cares.
You wouldn't see Libertarian as
nobody cares.
However,
nobody cares.
Set up when a state party committee
shut up
becomes the state party committee. So in 2016,
shut up.
Became the Massachusetts.
Oh my God!
I hope I'm right now the Liberty Tree Small Government Low Tax PAC.
Oh my God!
Supporting candidates and
he's just on and on about himself.
I'll stop sharing my screen.
Mr. Crawford, do you have anything to add to that, or?
Oh, well, there are some technicalities. You know, you can have an L next to your name, but it's called a designation, and it doesn't count. We don't have a primary anymore. And the other thing is that the state committee.
Okay, I want to stop here for 1 second. Now, at this point, I was kind of going, oh, shit. Chris is doing pretty well. Like, she's not coming across as unlikable. She's coming across as sympathetic. I was kind of like, because, you know, at first, I was like, they probably should have had Ashley be the spokesperson. Ashley can be very sympathetic. Ashley has a silver tongue. I thought Chris was not necessarily the best choice. And at this point, I was going, oh shit, she's doing pretty well, but that's not gonna hold.
Of this Commonwealth entity is elected by the voters. The state committee is required to be elected by the public after the initial formation. So we did have during the presidential primary. So in 2020, you know, we did have elections, and some of us were reelected to that, and you know, it lasted until November when we lost our status.
So to clarify what you're saying now, then, when you're recognized by the state, voters at large, or I guess maybe just registered Libertarian voters, get to elect the state committee. When you lose party status, which is where we are now, how then is that board?
So all this while, Llama keeps doing what it does every year.
Okay.
Because Llama, the state doesn't really care what Llama does. So Llama can.
Okay, Chris, though, the issue is, though, who the LNC recognize. Earlier, Chris recognized that there's $1,600 sitting in a bank account for the Libertarian Party of Massachusetts that they don't know how to access or get pulled into Llama. So from 2016 to 2020, there was a Libertarian Party of Massachusetts. Then after November of 2020, they lost that status. Now there's only the Libertarian Association of Massachusetts. But did the LNC flip-flop its affiliation here? And if both Llama and the Libertarian Party of Massachusetts both existed in 2016 through 2020, was the LNC breaking its own bylaws by having two recognized affiliates? They have separate elections. They have separate bank accounts. Yeah, I don't know the answer to this, Justin, so the LNC never affiliated the LPMA, so it's always been Llama? Has it, though? I don't know about that. I don't know if that's true. I don't know. It's just interesting questions. I don't have answers.
Continues to have conventions. Llama continues to elect the delegates to the national conventions. Llama is the membership organization and has always been, well, has been for at least 20 years, has been the state affiliate of the national LP. So the reason we made this bylaw change for the recognized party to be a sub-affiliate of Llama was because Llama, we had a long discussion about it, but we wanted Llama to have continuity. We didn't want to have to change our rules on the whim of, the laws of Massachusetts. So Llama goes on and on and on and on the way it does, whether this state party is recognized or not. It's just, to run as a candidate, you have to do some different things. There's some variations.
Quite complex.
To get on the ballot.
I'm glad you understand it, Justin. I'm not sure I do.
Is that Llama does not control Libertarian Party ballot access. So anybody who wants to
Why do both of these two just get to jump in? If we remember the way the Delaware meeting went, everybody had to be called on. They had to raise their hands. They had their mics muted in between. But it's funny the way all of this privilege is being given. And in a way, it's almost understandable for Chris. She's on the SC. But Fishman, he's just somebody who's been around who knows stuff. They didn't give me an open mic when they wanted to talk about whether we have affiliation records because they are wrong in what they said there. And I did raise my hand and they never, ever called on me to clarify that. So I just said, screw it. I put my hand down. But why is Dan Fishman getting all this privilege? Why is he just able to have all this crosstalk? I don't get it. This is such partiality on the part of the LNC, but, that gets laid at the feet of the chair.
Can run as a Libertarian. Llama has no control over that. And in fact, if somebody wanted to and were eligible to run as a Libertarian, and they were to get over 3% in a statewide race coming up this year, they would then be able to designate themselves as the Massachusetts Libertarian Party, and they would be officially recognized by the state and all that stuff. So right now, the Libertarian Party of Massachusetts does not exist. I have high hopes that somebody will run and get more than 3% in a statewide race, and then the Libertarian Party of Massachusetts will exist.
All right, Ms. Adams, did you have anything further on that particular line of questioning, or anyone else you wish to?
Yeah, I just have one thing. Mr. Fishman, you said that for your race, you and Ms. Crawford and others became the LP Mass committee, and LP Mass became kind of the state party. How were you all chosen to that?
Because we were the state committee for the Gary Johnson for President campaign in 2016. And so Massachusetts law says that if a candidate gets more than 3% on a minor party, then
I think this is going so far afield at this point, and it's just running out the clock.
So everybody who was the Gary Johnson Bill Weld committee became the state committee for the Massachusetts Libertarian Party. We wrote bylaws, constitution, filed them with the state, and then after 2020, in 2020 there were elections.
Hats off to whoever said "Let's go, Brandon" in the chat there.
Primaries. All major parties have elections to elect their state committee. I know Chris Crawford and Peter Everett were reelected. But then in November of 2020, the Massachusetts Libertarian Party ceased to exist because they did not have a candidate who had gotten 3% of the vote, nor were 1% of the
I know. Oh, Justin, they're just running out the
Donald
clock.
Trump could choose to run for governor in Massachusetts as a Libertarian, and if he received over 3% of the vote, Donald Trump and his people
Aaron,
would
none of this
become
has
the board
anything
of the
to do
LPS.
with what's
Is that
going
correct?
on.
Assuming that he were eligible to run as a Libertarian.
This is just
which
so
in
people could
Massachusetts,
go, oh, we've been
you know,
here
just
for an
means you
hour.
can't
Yeah,
vote
talking
either
about
with any
things
other
that have
major
nothing
party.
to do with
And yes,
anything.
that's exactly correct.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Mr. Rodsepp, I see your hand up next.
Thank you. I actually have 3 questions. The first one is that, Mr. Fishman, you had continuously used the word PAC or the abbreviation PAC, Political Action Committee. That's my concern. Now, I'm looking on the FEC webpage, and it says that you're actually a party-qualified committee, not a political action committee, which would then allow you to operate directly with their federal candidates as well as be affiliated with the national party. Is that to your understanding as well, sir?
So that is the Libertarian Association of Massachusetts. They are the affiliate of National. So that's what makes them a party qualified.
Oh my God, the face is coming out.
Other
Whitney,
than that, though, they are.
turn off your
they are
camera,
a political action
please.
committee.
Got you. But the FEC doesn't see them as a
party qualified committee is still a PAC.
It's not helping you.
But it operates under different rules where it can actually work with our presidential candidate and stuff?
It changes your sort of donation limits.
Gotcha. I just wanted to verify.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that information.
And could Matthew Buffin look
you were
any more
saying that anyone
corporate?
that would
He looks
qualify
like
as
he's in a
potential
cubicle
Libertarian
farm.
Could run as a Libertarian in Massachusetts, and then if they received 3%, or 4%, I'm sorry.
It's 3%, correct.
3%. They would then become the de facto new Libertarian Party if it was a qualifying race. Is there any methodology to select who our presidential election or candidate is on your behalf?
And if
Or
you
is that
want to
just
know
under-
who assembled
so
that
there
bullshit
is a,
folder of evidence, that was
when we have major
Buffman,
party
the
status. So one thing about it is that when you have major party status,
maybe
you
ex-cop.
automatically get your party name's ballot line for the presidential election. So, I ran really hard in 2018. I wanted to win, but it originally was planned as a ballot access campaign. And the fact that I got 4.5% meant we didn't have to spend $60,000 to put Joe Jorgensen on the ballot. So when you are a major party and there's a presidential election, you get to pick the committee gets to decide whoever they want to put on the presidential ballot line.
Oh my God.
So Joe Jorgensen was
I wanna hang
put on
myself.
the ballot by the Massachusetts Libertarian Party, who had been elected at the state committee election during the Libertarian primaries by the state of Massachusetts, and everybody was eligible to vote in them.
Okay, so in 2024, it's kind of whoever gets to the well first.
Okay,
in a statewide race this year.
I'm
Assuming
going.
that doesn't happen, then it's about gathering the signatures. And so whoever
I know,
is
he's
able to
making the
gather
whole thing about himself.
10,000 signatures, whoever's got the 75,000.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, I believe, Mr. Secretary and members of the board, that Mr. Hewitt and Mr. Smith have arrived. Is that correct? Mr. Hewitt or Mr. Smith?
I'm here. Yeah, Mr. Smith. I'm here for sure.
Thank you. Mr. Hewitt, are you present?
I see him on the list, but
Okay, he may have stepped away. Perhaps he'll confirm that soon. Okay, moving on. I have Mr. Nano. Where'd you go?
I'm still here.
Okay, your hand's not up anymore, but you're on the list. So.
I was going to ask a question, but this is, I think my question was answered. So
Okay, I did see Mr. Hewitt just now. I saw his face, so yes, he is here, Mr. Wilbur. Okay, Mr. Nana, are you? So can I move on to the next person in the queue?
Go ahead. Yes,
okay,
go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Flores.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I just have a couple of questions here. My first question, in reading the statement from Ashley Shade that was submitted, in the statement there, she says we have no power to stop a person from running as a libertarian. In the LAMA bylaws, Article 3, Section 1, under Declaration of Independence, says resolve the Libertarian Association of Massachusetts is free and independent body, and as such, it reserves the right to accept or reject any candidate chosen by the Libertarian National Party or other entity.
None of this has anything to
which
do with
LAMA chooses
anything.
To affiliate, and if a nationally chosen candidate is rejected, to run no candidates or such alternate candidate as it may choose. So I guess my question would be, under LAMA's current structure, which individuals or what entity is responsible for ensuring that the national ticket the President, Vice President nominated at the Libertarian Party's nominating convention is actually put on the Commonwealth of Massachusetts general election ballot?
Mr. Flores, to whom are you addressing that question?
It might have been me and somebody that muted me.
Yeah,
I can answer that.
either Mr. Fishman or I believe Miss.
I can answer that question. Sadly,
Oh, God.
nobody has the power to do that. Any person who wants to can be the Libertarian Party presidential candidate
God,
in Massachusetts,
dude.
assuming they meet the signature requirements. There is no way, the Libertarian
He
the
loves to
Libertarian
hear
Association-
himself
while there
talk.
exists no Massachusetts Libertarian Party, to keep anybody from using the Libertarian name and running.
Okay, thank you. And then my other question was about, I believe, page 7 of Ashley Shade's submission. She says they've only been removed from our affiliate and are no longer eligible to be delegates for the national convention. My question would be, could these individuals be national convention delegates through another affiliate, or does that bar them altogether?
I'm going to pause for just a second and just see, is Ashley Shade present tonight? So you're reading from a statement that she submitted, and so I want to give her an opportunity to respond accordingly.
Madam Chair, she indicated in her statement that she had no plans to attend this meeting.
All right, just making sure. Thank you.
So this is a side trail. We're going.
Be a delegate in Massachusetts is by being elected.
2 competing groups ran candidates under the moniker of the Libertarian Party.
This still has nothing to do with anything. Let's move past this.
I'm going to ask the state chair of Rhode Island. Pat?
It's well before my time. It's a genuine question. I simply don't know the answer to it. I'm assuming that somewhere in the vault that there is an agreement. I'm just wondering, for the sake of argument, since we're covering some pretty important ground here, there's a lot of lessons to be learned regardless of the situation, how that's in place.
I don't know. And I say that as former executive director.
Right.
Executive director for a very small period of time.
No, I understand. I'm just wondering where, is there a secret tablet, a secret stone, and tongue planted firmly in cheek? Is there a decoder ring that we got? I'm being facetious to kind of lighten up the situation a little bit, but I'm just wondering what exists in terms of contractual or otherwise between the Libertarian National Committee, the Libertarian Party nationally, and individual affiliates.
I'm going to have to point you to your regional representative for that question.
Madam Chair, anyone have any ideas?
It sounds like we would all have to dig into the vault to find the affiliate agreements.
Yeah, it's really funny how you wouldn't recognize the chair of the historical committee who had their hand raised to answer this question, but you gave Dan fucking Fishman an open mic.
Our former
Funny.
secretary was able to find maybe one old archive one, but as far as affiliate agreements, nobody was able to produce them.
I know you guys would love to unperson me, but you could have asked.
In a fire or by flood.
It wasn't a
to that point,
fire.
we were told that there are varying records. Some people think they may have the oldest. There may be older copies that may be available. There's absolutely nothing written down. There's no chartering within our organization. Quite frankly, there's no paperwork to say that any of our affiliates legally,
That's wrong.
as far as I can tell, actually exist right now.
No, we do have some of them, and we have other records that refer to it in minutes and in LP news articles and the like. But we do have some of the original affiliation paperwork.
Actually, a real quick
And
point,
the requirements for affiliation are in the bylaws. They keep. Let me stop here because they keep acting like if they find this mysterious document, there's going to be all these other requirements that all of a sudden they're going to. It's like the heavens are going to open and the angels are going to sing and they're going, aha! This answers every question that we had. But that's not how it is because the bylaws say what are the requirements for affiliation, and it's very basic. That's all this form says. You have to ratify the statement of principles. You have to have a certain number of residents of your state that sign off. You can look in the national bylaws, but that's all it says. And yes, well, for most states, the vast majority of states, we don't have the actual signed document. It's been lost to time. A lot of them were lost in a flood, not a fire. But we have records, like the way we do history for a lot of other things, that record the event happening. LP News used to be very, very obsessed with recording when the LNC used to be called the Executive Committee. So they were very obsessed when we were getting affiliates in every state. So they dutifully reported in LP News each month. Sometimes it was every 3 months because we've never been very consistent about the time frame that we publish LP News. But there is a record of it happening. And like this big mystery, like for some reason, Aaron and Richard Longstrath have such a hard-on for this that it's because it's been said on the list. They want everyone to sign new agreements with a behavior clause in it, which they can't do without amending the bylaws. And good luck with that. I don't have it here. I should find it because there was a draft response that was written. It never got approved by the board, but it was a draft response that was written for a presentation to the board if the LNC should try to impose a behavior requirement on Colorado. And let's just say the draft response consisted of 2 words. Guess what those 2 words were? Okay, let's go back.
Libertarian Party of Kentucky was granted affiliate status in 1973. It was written in LP News, so I assume that's correct, but I don't know. I have two basic questions here. During public comments,
yes, you win, Justin. That's exactly what it said.
Permit the use of Francis and Francis for the purposes of board expediency, I believe it was. I might be mangling the exact wording. But that appears in the bylaws, and there's also a constitution. In most organizations, the constitution would trump the bylaws. The Constitution says a dues-paying member is anyone a member is anyone who paid dues, and then there's another category for non-dues paying. And throughout the bylaws, the only noting of dues that I could find is that
it might have been the second one, Justin. It was one or the other.
What they are, but I don't see in the Constitution a way to say that someone who has paid dues is not, or is able to be stripped of their dues-paying membership. I do see in the bylaws a provision for removing membership generally, but the Constitution says people who are dues-paying members are members, and then people who are not dues-paying members, the non-dues-paying members, can be defined inside the bylaws by the committee. So I guess I'm just trying to figure out the relationship here between bylaws Article 4, Section 9, and does it mean that the committee can do anything as long as it promotes expediency, or does the Constitution trump the bylaws?
Okay, things got a little very weird here. There isn't a conflict between the Constitution and the bylaws here. I don't know what is going on, like in Ken's mind here, where he thinks there's some kind of conflict, because there wasn't any. Ken went off on this weird rabbit trail. But I love how Dan jumps in a few minutes and misquotes the Constitution as saying, where it's talking about removal of members, when the Constitution's only talking about removal of state committee members. Because he just can't shut up. So let's continue.
To figure out how to conduct our meetings.
Right.
This is all a rabbit trail.
Whether it's Francis and Francis or Robert's Rule.
Of that particular, the ability to say that despite the Constitution saying anyone who has paid dues is a member, the ability to then, in the bylaws, say except when we say so.
Yeah, Ken is like so off base here. Anyone is dues who is a member, unless they get expelled. I mean, that's not a conflict. That's like saying, let's use my example, okay? Even though I don't accept their decision, they think this decision. That's like saying anyone who gets elected at the National Convention is the chair, is the secretary. Well, unless they get removed. I mean, Ken, like, that makes no sense. Like, this whole point you're making, like, there's no conflict here.
I don't think that thing about not letting... I mean, this never really came up before, and I think George actually put this in.
I would say
we don't want people to use the bylaws.
Shut up, Dan.
To abuse the process of doing
Why he have an open mic?
You know, it's not something that we have to invoke, because we just, you know, we try and follow the rules. But the fact that we can throw somebody out or eject a member it's in our bylaws, and you know, got in there.
And it's also in the Constitution.
Also
Why are you jumping in, Dan? It's not in the Constitution. Big mouth.
Expel a person.
Article 4, what was that, Mr. Fishman? Article 4?
Section 10.
Okay, yes, it's for cause after well, hang on a second, but that's the state committee.
Right.
Can expel someone from the state committee. That's under the section about state committees, not about members.
Yeah, it is. It's about members. We can expel a member for cause, and we've done it.
Oh my God, neither of them know what they're fucking talking about.
And I will take that as your interpretation then.
Yeah, we try to follow the rules unless it's Mises Caucus people.
Was there cause given, and was there due process given to the members that were ejected?
Well, there's no particular due process other than it has to be for cause, and you know, if we agree that.
Okay, here's where we're going to stop, and here's where we might see a parliamentary cat fight, because there's several of us here, and we like to argue. I made the point earlier about Roberts being their custom or general parliamentary authority outside of state committee meetings. Now, here's where things get interesting. These members were not allegedly expelled for misconduct within a meeting. actually no reason was actually given for them being expelled other than we're scared we're going to lose our seats. So these members, in order to be expelled for conduct outside of a meeting, are entitled to all of the due process protections, including a trial, including having charges preferred against them, including being notified of what the exact charges are, including being able to provide a defense. I'd have to look that up, JJ. I believe they do for offenses that occur within a meeting, for being disruptive within a meeting. But that is not what they are being accused of. They're being accused of thought crime outside the meeting. Okay, so let's go back. I should have brought my copy of Francis and Francis up here. It's a horrible authority.
It says for cause, comma, after affording the accused reasonable access to due process.
That's for state committee members, not for members of the organization.
So isn't it funny? She goes, well, oh no, only ourselves, only the privileged class get to have due process, not the fucking peasants. How dare you? How dare you insinuate that the peasants? But of course, their bylaws do say for cause. Yeah, I know, Justin. She does try to redefine it later. And they did not give any cause. But again, Francis and Francis only deals with misbehavior in a meeting. They're not being accused of misbehavior in a meeting. Therefore, the alleged parliamentary authority that doesn't govern their state committee would govern the rights of these members. The rights of these members are not covered by Francis and Francis, because Francis and Francis is not the parliamentary authority for their rights for conduct outside the meeting pursuant to their own bylaws. That's where George Phillies done fucked up.
That's the section I was just pointed to, though.
Sorry, when I pointed to that,
yeah, you were pointing to
our language is occasionally incomplete.
Why, Dan, are you jumping in? You weren't called on.
Sure.
The body.
No, Dan just was wrong.
I'm wrong. I apologize.
Okay.
I am not an officer of the Libertarian Association of Massachusetts.
So where is it in the Constitution, or does it exist in the Constitution, that the state committee can revoke a membership?
No, it's in the bylaws.
Okay.
Richard, yeah, no, she never said there was due process. What she's saying is members aren't entitled to due process. Only state committee members are. That's very convenient and disgusting and unlibertarian, and fuck you.
So the Constitution
Not you,
does
Richard,
say
her.
members are all dues-paying members in Massachusetts. And the bylaws provide a means to remove someone under Article 1, Section 3, termination of membership.
Right.
And that's okay. That's where you're going with that. All right. I will move on. The other question I have is, do you believe this removal may have gone a little overboard? That assigning every single sign
just a tad.
Speculative.
Oh my God! I'm sorry. I forgot how funny that was. Objection! Speculative! This isn't Judge Judy, Dan! And who the fuck do you think you are? We gotta hear that again. Oh my God. Objection! Speculative! Oh my God. That was Dan Fishman, Brody. He thinks he's a fucking attorney. He thinks this is Law and Order or something. Okay, let's go back. I forgot how funny that was. I'm clipping that out. Mike Seaback, this is going to be a sound clip for us now. For Cultivar 1R. Okay, hold on. Let me go back. Oh my God, I'm going to piss my pants, Dan. Let's go back. We're going to go back 10 seconds. Okay, let's go again.
There you go. All right. We'll move on. The other question I have is, do you believe this removal may have gone a little overboard? That assigning every single signer.
Objection, speculative.
Oh my God, I'm getting a cramp. Oh, I'm hyperventilating. Oh, I'm definitely clipping that out for a sound clip. And speaking of sound clips, Dan.
No, you look like an idiot.
And oh my God. Needed another oof. Okay, let's go back. Oh my God. Dan. Objection, speculative. Oh my God. You dumbass.
The reason I asked the question is that I know one of the people personally is definitely not a member of any PAC, and is actually just genuinely a nice guy. I feel really bad for him because he's a nice guy.
Well, you know, we are willing to reinstate people. If they want to be reinstated, we'll consider it.
We'll consider it.
I just think that
you must submit a petition to the sovereign.
Very collectivist to say anyone who signed this petition is out.
Well, see, we don't have any way of knowing which of the petition signers had eyes wide open that this was a Mises.
Too bad you can't put them on the rack or something, Chris. We had no way of knowing who the enemy... Oh, hold on. Sorry, we need to get ready for this. I got some of my props. Comrades! We had no way of knowing who should be sent to the gulag with the mean bird. So we got rid of them all. We had no way of knowing. We couldn't waterboard them. Oh my God. I needed my whip. Oh my God. Oh, here's where... Mike, objection, speculative.
Caucus attempt to take over our convention. We don't know which ones were. And there's no way to know because the Mises Caucus hasn't provided us with their membership list.
Damn them! They haven't provided us with their membership list. Fuck you, Chris Crawford. Who the fuck do you think they are? You are. I know who the fuck you think they are. And please do explain, because this is just sheer sophistry. They were going to quote unquote take over your convention. Let me translate that to English for you guys, because she's speaking in tyrant speak, and tyrant speak isn't the same as, English. They were going to vote our asses out. That's basically what was being said. We didn't know who was going to vote against us, so we needed to get rid of them all. My God. Sweet baby Jesus.
Okay. I mean, it seems like you may have taken a firebombing approach when a more strategic approach may have been in your better interests, but that's on you guys.
Wait, I don't understand. I'm not a supporter of the Mises Caucus. This is Susan Howard, Region 5.
Hold on. Mr. Moman has the floor, and he is getting
Susan loves to interrupt.
I'm
not going to hold the free conversation.
And Madam Chair, I am completing my questioning. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Hogarth, do you want to be added to the queue?
No.
Okay.
I just wanted to interrupt.
Thank you. So I want to direct this first question to anybody, Chris or Dan or whoever's the most familiar with election law in Massachusetts. I have heard some speculation, and I'd like to answer this, that Ashley Shade, who was the chair at the time of this ordeal, was
ordeal. I love you, Joshua.
By remaining as the chair of LAMA. Is that truthful or no? And either one of you can answer, if whoever's more versed in the election law there.
I will say
whoever's more versed in the truth.
So the law says that Republicans and Democrats are each allowed to nominate one PAC.
Okay, we're going to stop here just for 1 second, because here's where Dan gets completely out of line. The chair should have called him out of order. He's completely inappropriate for an invited guest. Listen, I disrespect the LNC as much as the rest of y'all, but I don't disrespect them, and he is fucking wrong, yes. If I'm an invited guest to give testimony at the meeting, and you'll notice in my folder of crimes, comrades, there was not misbehavior at meetings. Because I respect the meeting itself, even if I don't necessarily respect the people in the meeting. And Dan, just the way he just shat all over this meeting, but the way he completely disrespects Joshua, the only analogy I can give to it is just imagine in this situation that we're going to listen to, Joshua Smith is Rand Paul and Dan Fishman is Dr. Fauci. That's what you need to just picture here.
That their elected officials can remain a party of. This sort of came up when I was running for auditor, and we asked.
Oh, talking about you again, are we?
They said, well, you guys don't have any elected members of the House who normally select the PAC that would be allowed to be the exception. So your state committee should decide the PAC that is the exception. We decided to not do anything and wait for the government to come calling before we decided to nominate anything. So it's unclear what the law is.
Mr. Fishman,
never
the
made an exception.
the law pretty clearly states that she could not remain the chair of the board.
I thought you were asking me a question.
Right. I mean, I'm just saying, you said it's unclear, but it does say that you can't. You cannot.
Why don't you read to me the section and I'll explain to you what you're missing there.
I have to go look at it again.
Yeah, because you'll see at the end where it says exception. I'm talking about the exception.
Okay, and so was that followed, is what I'm asking?
Yeah, I mean, asked and answered.
No, was it followed?
Asked and answered!
Was there like a vote taken to have her remain as the chair of a board?
It was not deemed necessary because we decided in 2018 that we weren't going to follow state law until they made us.
Okay.
We had a ruling from the Secretary of State that we would be able to nominate an exception, but it never came up. They never asked us to.
Thank you, Mr. Fishman. Mr. Smith, are you done?
No, I'm not done at all.
I mean, it feels like you got an answer and now you're just arguing. So
I'm trying to get answers to the issues that I've seen arise over the last month from all this.
Okay, but that question was answered. Do you have another question?
Anybody else off but me, of course.
Do you have another question?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Whitney,
Ms. Crawford.
Okay, Whitney is being so biased here. Of course, she's that way to me as well. But, like, oh my God, that face. Please, just turn off your camera. It's not doing you any justice. But her bias towards certain LNC members is just so fucking obvious.
This one's for you. A second ago, you said that there's a section in your Constitution that states that people removed from the executive committee are supposed to be, and it was read by Mr. Molman, that members of your executive committee are supposed to be given due process and be removed for cause. But you had two members of your executive committee that were removed because they had signed this petition. By the way, not Mises Caucus members. And they were removed without due process or cause, really, at all, since your Constitution supports a petition for a special convention. Do you not think that that's a violation of your own Constitution by removing ExCom members with no due process?
No, I don't.
Chris, your Constitution says that you can only remove officers with due process. You didn't give them due process. Don't you think that's a violation of your Constitution? No, I don't. And thank you so much for the super chat, Brody. Yeah, Joshua's making up for lost time. Like, Joshua's been the boss. Okay.
But it states it very clearly in your Constitution that you have to have due process to remove executive committee members.
No, we revoked their membership.
Okay, this is wild. Thank you. That's all I have for now.
Thank you, Mr.
This
Smith.
is wild.
Mr. Nana.
Yes, thank you.
No, we didn't. We didn't kill you. We just stopped you from breathing.
Oh, I heard something interesting earlier, or at least I thought I heard. I would like to have clarification. So these actions taken were specifically to remove Mises Caucus members from the membership rolls, correct or incorrect?
No.
Tell the truth, Pinocchio.
Incorrect.
So the action was taken for what reason then?
It was to remove the people who signed the petition.
So, oh my God. So, yeah, I didn't even realize. So the cause was that they exercised their rights under the Constitution. Oh my God. We need to clip all this out for convention. I mean, Chris, you realize you're the baddie here, right? You realize you're the evil tyrant in this situation, right? Or you don't? Like, are you really that fucking clueless that you don't see that you're the baddie here?
Okay. Are they legally...
Oh wait, no, that chuckle. We've got it. We've got to hear that chuckle of Dustin Nana again. Okay, Nana. I think it gets embarrassed each time I say this. There's one forum where his username is Nanaconda, and I love it because Dustin Nana is being the Nanaconda right here. Let's go back. The chuckle. I love it. We're gonna go back 10 seconds.
No, incorrect.
So the action was taken for what reason then?
It was to remove the people who signed the petition.
Okay. Are they legally, according to your documents,
I think I passed it.
Form this petition and gather signatures, or is that
well, that's okay.
Legal action according to your organizational rules?
Technically, they are, but we deemed it fraudulent.
Technically, they're allowed to do that, but we deemed them not allowed to do it. We deemed it fraudulent because how dare you try to remove us from our seats? That is violence, comrades. Technically, they are. Well, technically.
Was the cause.
Okay, and
their
why
actions were fraudulent.
Any reason why it was deemed a fraudulent action?
Well, yes, because they were part of the national campaign to take over state parties by the Mises Caucus, and it was organized.
Oh, wait. Didn't you just say, though, it wasn't because they were Mises Caucus members? Let's everyone sing right now. One of these things is not like the other. My God, Chris. Like, you just contradicted yourself like within 2 minutes. But here again is sophistry. What again is meant by takeover? It doesn't mean expelling people because they signed a petition. No. I don't care for the takeover language, but I also know that when you want to be fair, you don't nitpick words you might not particularly like. You try to understand what people mean by what they say. And it's quite obvious what the Mises Caucus means. It means they are going to outcompete you at legitimate conventions and win your seats. And you are removing people because they want to compete against you. Let's be very clear here. You are lying when you try to pretend like the word takeover means anything else. You are a fucking liar.
By the Mises Caucus of Massachusetts.
So I did hear correctly the first time. Okay, interesting.
No.
So I did hear it correctly the first time. Interesting. Dustin, Nana, you are the bomb. Let's go back. I gotta hear that again.
Yes, because they were part of the national campaign to take over state parties by the Mises Caucus, and it was organized by the Mises Caucus of Massachusetts.
So I did hear correctly the first time. Okay, interesting.
No.
So would you compare this action, say, to a congressman who was, or a governor, let's say, who was being recalled, arbitrarily revoking the citizenship of people who signed that recall petition? Would you say this is a similar action? Is that comparable? Or do you think this is something else?
No, but it is, exactly. It is exactly. Imagine Gavin Newsom going, "You all are expelled from California. How dare you want to recall me?" Oh my God. Nana, I love you, man.
No.
Okay. That's everything I have.
Thank you, Mr. Nana. Mr. Nikela?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a question for Ms. Crawford, and then I'd like to speak with some of the other folks here.
Okay, just want to stop here 1 second, because what happened in the interim there is I called up Stephen Nicola. I actually called, I was mass dialing a bunch of LNC members to see who would actually pick up the phone in the middle of the meeting. And when I got Stephen on the phone, I'm like, why is Dan Fishman being given an open mic? And why isn't anyone bothering to ask the expelled members? Because I thought this is what this was about. And, you know, I just blah, 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 really fast. And then I'm like, okay, bye. But Stephen said, my hand's up. My hand's up. I'm trying to get in to address this.
I haven't gotten an opportunity to speak tonight on the other side of this argument. For Ms. Crawford, I'm probably not going to get what I'm looking for, but I just want to ask, what made these Mises Caucus members in your state different than the members in my state? You see, I have many Mises Caucus members that came into the party somewhere within the last 2 years.
So basically, Stephen is like going, why is this board of directors of Massachusetts so fucking incompetent and such babies and so threatened by competition, unlike us in Florida? That's basically what he's asking, and he's right.
I've been a member of the board of the Florida State Party since 2014, I believe. And I'd like to say I'm a veteran on the board. I've seen many people come and go, and I've seen the Mises Caucus affiliated members join my state. I've given them many different opportunities to serve on different boards and in different positions. And
I love this. I want to stop here. Look in chat there. I can't see that name. I think it says Reinhold TV. Reinhold TV asks, are these guys high?
Members. I view them as any other member. I see them as affiliated to certainly the Mises Caucus as an organization, as a caucus, which they do caucus. But I'm curious as to what did you see within your state that was the definitive reason or reasoning behind the cause to terminate their membership? I mean, aside from the fact that they're affiliated with the National Mises Caucus, what particular actions or fears or worries did you have that led to this predicament?
Okay, I love this long pause. Like, this is in a courtroom, like you would have been able to hear a pin drop. Like this long pause. I want to go back because I just really want to savor this. Stephen Nicola's kicking ass here.
With the National Mises Caucus, what particular actions or fears or worries did you have that led to this predicament?
How do I put this? Their behaviors were
that was
consistent with
painful.
the orders that were coming down from Michael Heiss.
Okay, you don't like Michael Heiss. Listen, okay, I get it. You know, gingers, you shouldn't really trust gingers. I get it. You know, we all know that. They eat souls. That's why they have so many freckles. But still, I'm not so sure that is cause. You know? Okay, so they respect and listen to Mike Heiss. Didn't give any specific, you know, objectionable orders that were given. How about this, Chris? How about this, Chris? You listen and respect to Nick Sarwark, who a lot of people think is a CIA agent. Now, I don't think he is, but we're going into La La Land here, you know, so we might as well go all the way. Should we be able to expel anyone who's friends with Nick Sarwark that we think takes orders from Nick Sarwark?
To take over the Libertarian National Convention.
So the major
you mean take over by getting delegates legitimately seated? Chris, I think you were around for the Portland Massacre. I actually have the voting rolls for the Portland Massacre, which was organized by the Reform Caucus of the time in a very, very organized way. I mean, they dominated that convention, and they were there to take over the platform. Were you part of that, Chris? Now, I don't know if she was or she wasn't. I know she's been in the party a long time. She seems like a big-time prag, like in the bad sense of the word. And it would be interesting to see how she sided on that, to see if she's a hypocrite. I have the voting rolls because it wasn't a secret ballot then, and I'm going to look up if Chris Crawford was there and the way she voted.
Concerned that it seems to be the concern was...
The orders were, I can quote, well, I can't find it now, but to just sign up anybody that you can find. It doesn't matter if they're libertarian. Go to Yale. Just sign up anybody and tell them we're going to nail some liberals.
Is that an actual quote from somewhere, or is this?
Yes, Michael Heiss.
Okay.
And that's what they did in New Hampshire.
I'd like to speak to, I don't know who's representing the other side of the...
Oh, okay. Yeah. The quote from where, let me switch here. And for people who might be watching this that aren't watching the YouTube stream, where I'm like going quote from where it seems like I'm talking to myself. I should actually put some of these comments on the screen because I am actually answering questions that are in the chat. Brody, I've seen a screenshot of it. It's about 3 years old. Michael Heiss has long since disavowed it and said he was pissed off at the person talking and it wasn't something they ever actually did. And it was 3 years ago and specifically denounced and disavowed. And I thought that's what we were supposed to do. Isn't that what the blood oath is? So in a moment of being pissed off and talking out your ass, which all of us do, Michael Heiss said something stupid at one time. That is not ever been the marching orders of the Mises Caucus. Go fuck yourself, Chris Crawford. You're lying. And wait a minute. One of your own state committee members was teaming up with far left organizations. And I saw, where your logos and your group was associated like the Socialist Workers Party and stuff like that. And that was recent. And that's never been denounced or disavowed. So can we expel him? And can we expel you if you don't think we should expel him? Interesting. Yeah, Brody, Michael Heiss has the screenshot, and he could tell you the whole story behind it. Because when I first saw that screenshot, the date was cut off of it, which is suspicious anyway when you see a screenshot where the date was cut off. So I sent it over to him, and I asked him about it. Because when I first saw it, I was like, what the fuck is this? And I actually asked about it. Oh, go figure.
Folks that were terminated? Is there anyone, Ms. Bill, I'm sorry?
Janelle.
Chanel?
Janelle. Janelle, are here?
So, if I may, earlier on the list today, there were two names I
Here
saw
you come, Janelle.
And I see Brody Elwood. I believe that was one of the names that came up on the list as someone that people wanted to hear from on the list. If
It was
that is
Brody Elwood and Janelle Holmes.
Okay, yes, Janelle was one of them, but I see Brody with a hand up, so I just wanted to make sure that was one that I recognized from the list today. Is that correct? Mr. Smith, you're saying that Brody Elwood is one of them?
Yeah, as far as that list that we were given, it was Brody Elwood
yes.
and Janelle. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. That's what I want to go with right now. So,
a point of personal privilege, Madam Chair.
Mr. Bowen?
Thank you. We've kind of gotten off track here. I thought we were going to allow each of the parties, and that's Janelle and Brody, and then Chris Crawford, to spend a few minutes making statements before we started asking questions.
That procedure was never established. The second person I recognized from the LNC to speak started wanting to get things going by asking questions. And so that's how we got to where we are now. So at this point, what I'm hearing is Mr. Nikela, were you the one who just asked to hear from members of the opposing side of this?
Correct.
And if so, we've got Brody Elwood, who is actually in line with a hand up. So if there is no objection, would that be someone you would like to direct questions to?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'll yield my time.
Okay. All right. And Brody, am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Go ahead. Mr. Nikela, did you have a specific question for him, or you just want to let him speak?
I just want to hear his side of the story, and particularly if he can touch on at some point what actions he thinks may or may not have led to this termination.
All right, thank you.
So if I heard your question correct, you want me to speak on why I think I was kicked out specifically, or
well, if you can speak perhaps on behalf of yourself, or perhaps on behalf of, from your angle, why did this occur? Now would be an opportunity for you to let us know what happened.
Sorry, I believe Pat said something.
Just a point of order. Both Brody and Janelle have prepared presentations that they'd like to address. So I think if I can just jump in for a second and say, could we give them the opportunity both to make those, and that would potentially answer a lot of questions.
I would love to hear Mr. Elwood say what he wants to say. It is his time right now.
Yeah,
and I have no problem
Janelle, she really didn't want you to talk.
To speak, we can hear the same from Janelle. Mr. Elwood, please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't have much to say off the bat because Janelle is the one who has prepared this presentation and has the kind of summary behind it for everybody. I will jump in to speak as necessary, but Janelle, as a member of the state committee, is the one who is going to be the kind of the contact point for the expelled members.
And is Janelle on here? I've not.
I am on, yes.
Okay. All right. You have the floor, madam.
Thank you, Madam Chair. All right. So first of all, thank you everyone for your time. I don't want to go and read through everything that I sent you guys, but I do want to touch upon things. I'm here today and I'm in concert with multiple, I am the duly elected communications director of the Libertarian Association of Massachusetts. I am also
Brody, remember this is sped up, so you do sound a little different.
We just celebrated our 1-year anniversary in December of 2021, and I'm here today in concert with multiple other sub-affiliates across the state of Massachusetts. And I think the point we want to get across is that we want to ask the LNC to exercise whatever discretionary right they have to endorse in writing reinstatement of the 47 wrongly ousted members. And reasons for that is, we're disputing the validity of the vote to expel, as well as the legality of the meeting in regards to standards of official meeting protocol. The meeting did not initially convene an open session, and there was no roll call vote to enter an executive session, and nor was there an announcement of the official reason for entering the closed session. And furthermore, the agenda was never posted prior to the meeting and was withheld from at least myself and Charlie when we were later expelled. Now, as you guys have already gone over, the Constitution provides reasonable access to due process for state committee members facing expulsion. And that was per Article 4, Section 10. Do you guys need me to read that again, or do you guys feel like you're comfortable with that? Because I can go ahead. The state committee may, by 2/3 vote of its entire membership, expel a person from the state committee for cause after affording the accused reasonable access to due process. Expiration of membership in the organization is cause, but payment of membership dues to renew membership prior to the vote constitutes an absolute defense. So this means that the expulsion of the 2 state committee members should have, at the very least, been separate motions, and reasonable access to due process should have been afforded. And
exactly
by revoking our membership, as the Constitution is the governing document over the bylaws. I think that most could agree that a closed meeting in which the agenda was hidden from the accused members does not constitute due process.
I know Whitney is being very entertaining. She needs to turn her camera off.
The membership director's eligibility to vote, as he is no longer a Massachusetts resident. I'm not sure of the exact date that he moved, but he is currently residing in New Hampshire. And this is where it gets a little hairy. So it's Article 1 of the bylaws states that eligibility for membership is members are all dues-paying members in Massachusetts.
She really looks like she's paying close attention to you, Janelle.
But also the Lama Constitution, Article 4, Section 8, states that to be elected or serve as an officer of the state committee, a person must be a member of the organization whose dues are current. So I think there's a little bit of confusion on whether if he's serving and he is not technically a member because he's not in Massachusetts, is he eligible to serve on the state committee? And we're calling that into question. The final vote of the secret ballot, it read 6-1. So, but it should have correctly read 6-1-2 because the bylaws requires a 2/3 vote of the entire state committee. The entire state committee was not present. There were 2 absent. So without the vote of the membership director, who was present that evening, and I did not vote in favor of my own expulsion, the motion would read 5-1-2, and that would fail to meet the 2/3 requirement. And then we also call into question whether Ms. Shade was in violation of the Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 55, Section 5A. And I'm not an attorney. I can't directly answer.
And I think you're correct on that point, Janelle, by the way.
But it definitely calls into question whether she should have been presiding at all. So given this, if we were to question Ms. Shade's vote in this, and even if we were
and Brody, I hope to have that revised document to you tonight, but because this is like going to be a 3-hour stream, please forgive me if it's tomorrow.
That when she held public office, that she should have resigned.
Tell me you'll forgive me, please.
But she waited to resign until after casting a vote for this. And for the purpose of the argument on the vote to expel, if we were to negate Ms. Shade's vote as well, the potential vote would have read 4-1-2, and again that motion would have failed to pass. And finally, I'd like to cite the recent standards of behavior, which was adopted in December. And in that provision, and which was explained. Oh, let me just go here. Sorry. The argument for passing these standards of behavior was to outline exactly what constitutes grounds for expulsion, which was supposed to explain the for cause language in the Llama bylaws. Yet, conveniently, the document has not been updated in the Llama bylaws, and it was passed in December. So there's no reason why it should not be updated and clarified there. But under sanctions of that, it states a violation of any of these standards of behavior by a Llama State Committee member shall be considered adequate cause for the purpose of an action under Article 4, Section 10 of the Llama Constitution. A violation of these standards of behavior by a non-state committee Llama member may result in the suspension or termination of membership. If the Llama State Committee...
Janelle, don't you know that signing a petition is misbehaving?
After the member has received access to due process. Due process shall be defined as an executive session in which the member in question shall be provided ample opportunity to present their case to the State Committee, with the member receiving adequate notice no less than 7 days prior to such an executive session. This executive session did not have 7 days notice, and none of these people that signed this petition were given any kind of notice that they were going to be expelled for signing the petition. And I'd just like to say that, we're dealing with, the committee is willing to expel members simply for petitioning them. But also...
So in case somebody's not really getting the point here, not that you're not explaining it clearly, Janelle, it's just that sometimes people just check out when it comes to this parliamentary procedure stuff. You're basically quoting special rules of order that they have on that supplement where she's claiming, well, our bylaws only say for cause, but this is about behavior, and they passed this behavior code and talked about the procedure that would be followed, which is in essence a special rule of order, and they didn't follow their own fucking rules. Janelle, could you forward me that document, that procedure part? Thank you. I'm not being entirely clear.
There's questions of whether they have acted outside the bounds of the law. They have acted outside of their own bylaws and their own constitution. And I'd like to ask people to consider, if the state were to remove your voting rights for issuing a petition against them, how would you react? And if we don't want the state doing something to us, I don't believe we should be doing it to other libertarians. I find this action was unconscionable, unethical, and unbecoming of libertarian leadership. So in addition to asking for endorsement to reinstate the aggrieved members, we ask the LNC...
Oh, okay. Then please send those to me, Brody.
Recommending the next LNC...
I forgot they called them bylaws.
Should this not be
but they are in the nature of a rule of order.
Massachusetts. And that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Holmes. Mr. Elwood, did you have anything else to add to that?
I do not have
I know you sent it to me in the past, but I've got a million fucking emails.
From Ms. Holmes's comments.
Thank you. Mr. Flores, I had you in the lineup, but I see your hand is down now. Mr. Rodset, you are next.
Thank you very much.
I apologize for asking you to do that again.
I did answer several of the questions that I was going to pose. One question that remains is, how many motions were made to expel these members? Was it 1 or was it 47? And that's to the current board of Llama.
1 motion.
1 motion. And Ms. Crawford, I do appreciate your detail to your bylaws and constitution as you have been putting forward so far. But in your bylaws, it does say a state committee expel a person. Do you feel that that should have been done in 47 different motions instead of 1?
No.
No. Okay. Also, you had said that you didn't know who was involved in what organization, and that's why you decided to expel 47 because you didn't have member roles. Would it have been smarter to make this 47 separate motions and then revisit individually or give each individual due process to see if they met your criteria?
I'm putting your comment, Justin, because you are absolutely correct.
Yeah, I said before that we have a process for reinstating people, and that's open to anybody.
Okay. What are your what would be qualification for reinstatement in your mind?
A 2/3 vote by the state committee?
No, I understand the process to do it, but what would deem someone worthy to be reinstated?
They're not worthy.
They'd have to make a case. I can't really tell you what that would be.
Okay. How would they go ahead and petition you for re-establishment into the party if you can't give criteria?
you know, they have to have their own criteria and convince us.
Then I'm going to ask the next question to the individuals that are present that have been expelled from the party. I kind of want to know from you, what criteria do you think you should be putting forward to be readmitted into Llama?
I can speak to that real quick. I don't think I should have to prove anything to rejoin the organization that I view that I've been illegitimately removed from by a state committee that has acted illegally, as Janelle has referred to. I will speak quickly on the atmosphere that the state committee has fostered inside the party. I joined the party. I attempted to do what I saw as good work, and I had attended many state.
It's gonna stop here for 1 second. Sorry to interrupt you, Brody. If anyone doesn't see how this is just a direct downriver effect of the fucking over that the LNC did to me, yeah, be blind willfully.
Committee meetings, and I just saw how the state committee did not like new members coming in and giving their very strong opinions. I won't say that they weren't strong opinions, but they're strong opinions on how things should be done, and that we were looking to get involved into grow Llama and basically change the direction of Llama, that we saw it was going in a bad direction. So I personally don't think I should have to prove anything to rejoin Llama because I was removed illegitimately, but I can say that the atmosphere of the current state committee, they are not being truthful when they say that they have an open mind about admitting new members. Chris Crawford has shown bias towards a certain subset of the membership who happen to caucus with the Mises caucus that is irrelevant to the current conversation. What they have done is completely, as Janelle has said, unethical and unbecoming of libertarian leaders. And I don't think I should have to prove anything to rejoin the party. I mean, does the state do that? Does the state say, hey, you're guilty of murder, so we're going to stick you in prison until you prove you have not murdered somebody? No, the state doesn't even do that, and the state is a horrible organization. So why are libertarians gatekeeping by saying, oh, you submitted this fraudulent petition, you exercise your member rights, and now we're going to kick you out, and if we feel like it, we're going to readmit you.
And I want to point something else out here too. Notice people forget, and some people in chat might not know this. Janelle was one of the state committee. She was on the state. She's one of the removed members, and she was on the state committee, which means she too was up for recall. But somehow that wasn't an existential threat to her. I wonder why. Corrupt people, they project. They think other people are corrupt. Janelle was willing to stand in a recall election, but Chris Crawford couldn't have the peasants uprise. My God, this is reminding me so much of the clown car removal process of me.
Thank you very much, Brody. I appreciate that. Last question, also to you, Brody, is that it was stated that the current board feels that there were bad actors among these 47 that were trying to overthrow the party or to direct it in a new direction that was counterintuitive, I guess, to the libertarian value. To your best knowledge, and I don't want you to speak for anybody, but I'm assuming that you know the majority of the 47 individuals that were removed. To your best knowledge, did any of those individuals fit that criteria, and did they deserve to be removed?
In my opinion, no. I mean, how do you change an organization but join it and get involved? Also, for context, I'm the chair of the Libertarian Party of Middlesex. How did I form that party? Well, I saw that there wasn't a local affiliate in my area. I networked with libertarians whom I knew very well, and I said, hey, let's form this party so that we can start doing local action under the Libertarian Party.
How dare you, you devious little devil! You actually did work and talked to libertarians? Out with you!
Name. And that's exactly what I did. And so many of those people who signed the petition are from my own affiliate. So I do know them well, and they don't have any intentions of so-called bringing the Libertarian Party in a unlibertarian direction. I mean, we have different opinions of how things should be run. That is absolutely correct, but to say it's unlibertarian is absolutely untrue.
Thank you very much.
All right, Mr. Smith.
Yeah, I have a question for Janelle. So I asked this question to Chris, and she basically told me that it wasn't against the Constitution, although it does have a provision in there that if you were an XCOM member, you're removed. You were an XCOM member, correct, Janelle?
Correct.
And do you feel that you received due process for being removed?
Absolutely not. Even the agenda was withheld from me before entering the meeting.
Sure. And then you mentioned the counts for the vote. That didn't include yourself or Mr. Charlie Larkin, did it?
The count for the vote included myself. I voted against my own expulsion. Sure. Mr. Larkin was not present for the meeting, no.
Yeah, so it was Mr. Larkin and Ms. DeSisto were not present, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I don't really have any more questions. I think this thing is absolutely wild. I do have one thing to say to Ms. Crawford, though. if you don't have criteria for how these people can get back into becoming a member for the party, then you don't have criteria for removing them. I don't understand how you can say that you don't know what it would take for them to become members again, and then out the other side of your mouth say that but you know what it took for them to not be members. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't line up at all. I think this is petty tyrant crap, and it's disgusting. That's all I have to say. Thanks.
Madam Chair, point of order.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Mr. Longstreth?
Yes, I just wanted to note for order's sake, I need to leave for the meeting, so if any vote does come, my role will be...
Oh, don't worry, Richard. Any vote does come. You're not going to have to pass and wait to see if your vote is the deciding vote, because I know you're terrified of that.
Be vacant.
Thank you. Mr.
He doesn't
actually leave, though, but he was sweating it.
Thank you. So I just kind of want to clear things up for some of our members and anybody else that may be on the call. I know there were some rumors circulating that we intended to disaffiliate Massachusetts. That's not possible according to our own rules at this time because we are so close to the national convention. So I'd like that to be known. The second thing I would like to be known is that there really is no action that can be taken on this matter, to my knowledge, that's tangible at least, other than maybe a strongly worded letter. So I just want to kind of let people know factually where we stand right now, regardless of how anybody feels. There's really nothing we can do at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Nana. Mr. Nikela? Was that it, Mr. Nana?
It was.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Nikela?
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. And I just want to let Janelle know in her request of LNC action that there's nothing we can do to hold the next LNC to any particular action. So if something is going to be done, and I'm not suggesting it be done or not, it would have to be after, But I just want to say on this matter, a couple of things that have come to my mind. And I think it's important to note that if somebody has the competency to do something and the desire to do something, then nothing about their caucus alignment should hold them back. But minimizing the difference is not the same as pretending difference does not exist. To assume that ideas, philosophy, and outlook mean nothing would be ridiculous, but to assume that they mean everything would be fatal. Disagreement is not oppression. Argument is not assault. Petitions, even ones against your authority, are not fraud. The answer to speech that we do not like is more speech.
Yeah.
I'm afraid that in this scenario, and many like it that I've seen come up so far, is that we're like Don Quixote chasing windmills. You have the Mises Caucus, which I know has strong rhetoric at times, and you have these movements that are afraid of
He lost his sound right at the best spot.
Mr. Nikela, I think we lost you.
Right, Justin. And O'Donnell is also correct.
Perspective that in my state, in Florida, we're not having these issues. I got kicked out for a second. Anyway, I just want to say that, I don't see what we can do here as an LNC, but seeing this from a bird's eye view, I can certainly say that I really hope this is the last time we have to go through this scenario. And I really hope the folks involved can see this for what this is. These purges have to stop, and we need to start looking at each other like libertarians and not like monoliths. There needs to be a coming together here because there's a lot more happening in this world than just what's going on in this party. I have a daughter being born in 2 weeks. What kind of world am I going to be building for her, and what kind of world are we going to be building through this party? If we continue to fight like this, if we continue to do things that don't make sense, then I think we're going to continue having these schisms, which are causing
Whitney,
issues.
really, turn off your
people that
camera.
shouldn't be disenfranchised. It's just silly. It's really silly to me. So all I have to say is, as a state chair for Florida, we have the caucus in our party. We're doing fine. Many other states are doing the same thing. And I invite you and others to reconsider this action and talk to the people that have been kicked out, because to me, it's wrong. So that's all I got to say. I hope you guys work it out. And I hope that these events do not continue, because it's very frustrating and unfortunate that we have to revisit it. And hopefully we can actually get some things done. That's all I got.
Thank you, Mr. Nikela. Mr. Flores, and then Mr. Ford.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just have a couple of questions. My first question would be, and I'm not even sure who to direct the question at, because I'm not even sure who would be able to answer it, but I'm not sure if anybody is aware of when the Llama State Committee or the Llama Group would have petitioned the LNC to be recognized as a state affiliate. If anybody has an answer to that, of when that date might have happened.
Okay, we're getting into the point here where it's going to be dealing with whether Llama, whether the LPMA, and that's going really, while I do think it's a very interesting question, I do think it's somewhat of a distraction, and I do think it's an excellent question. I told Alex so, from the issue at hand here. So I'm going to go past this. I'm going to skip ahead. I don't think there's much more substantive discussion. I think they just start getting into whether they're going to adjourn. They're going to get into Joshua's motion, whether or not it was in order to have an adjourned meeting. And while all of that is interesting, that's not to the main points of the LNC's utter lack of backbone. And of course, when I say the LNC, I don't mean everyone on the LNC. Obviously, there were some great people in this meeting. But the fact that they brought this all upon themselves starting on September 6th, but this is just going to continue to happen. The utter corruption of Chris Crawford, like Dan Fishman embarrassing himself. I mean, we got through most of what I wanted to get through. But what this was about is a current board that is scared that they are going to get voted out. They have an ideological disagreement with other libertarians and decided that rather than out-competing them, they're just going to expel them from the party. That is objection, speculative, Miss Harlos. That is exactly what this is about. It is about intra-libertarian disagreement. But apparently now you're not even allowed to have that. And it is so funny. This is such projection. Chris with the takeover. Oh, they're going to take over. They're going to do this. You're the ones doing it. You are the ones throwing people out. The people that you're claiming are the bad guys are the ones who just want to exercise valid rights, compete legitimately. And you're the one pulling dirty tricks. I do not know how you live with yourselves. I do not know how you justify just this disgusting behavior. But, you know, I've ceased to be astonished because this LNC has justified to itself its absolutely disgusting behavior in removing me, who was validly elected, being the person I am right now, and they did it without due process. So, you know, the funny thing is, they were willing to overlook all that because they couldn't take my criticism, and I know that even some of the bad ones on this LNC, the ones that I don't particularly care for, that I know some of you guys are friends with, I'm not trying to get in the middle of your friendships like Aaron Adams, they know in their heart that what was done here was wrong, but the cognitive dissonance that they have in their own head, because if they really take that on board, that what's going on here is wrong, they're like, the little hamster wheel in their head is going, oh my God, that means what we did to our secretary was wrong. And they can't admit that. This is what is causing them to get wrapped around their own axle. But let's just do some fast forwarding to make sure that my memory is not incorrect. But I think we got through all the really good stuff. Let's do that just to make sure, though.
Well, it was at least before I rejoined the state committee, which is about 10
This
years
is
ago.
all about the affiliation. We're going to skip past that.
I'm ready for this point. So this time I wish to move to adjourn.
Okay, they're going to have a failed motion to adjourn. Let's go past that. I really do think we got through everything we wanted to.
That is not our affiliate, that we have not actually granted permission to use our branding, who holds our ballot line at certain times and another.
My mind, and you can call that speculation if you want. It was a constitutionally correct petition that they tried to file.
Yeah, let's go back here.
Have people come and vote for them. So yes, I believe that it's still yes.
Yeah, that's what I was under the impression of as well. And I was going to ask this: the notification for this is being sent to all dues-paying members in Massachusetts, correct?
Well, we don't have the membership rolls, and I don't have access to them any longer because I've been expelled.
But that was the intention, correct?
Correct. That was the intention. The state if the state committee recognized the petition as valid, which we know that their opinion now is that they believe it is not valid, and they've actually called it fraudulent. But they would have had to give the members 30 days notice of the special convention. And yes, everyone would have been able to show up, and anybody would have been able to vote for whomever they wanted.
Okay.
And I want to bring up a point here to the people who, I think some people are just saying it in ignorance. Other people are just saying it in utter callousness when people say, well, you know, they should just handle this at their state convention. They can't handle this at their state convention because they've been expelled. So they can't go to their state convention. That is by design. This is convention rigging that is absolutely worthy of the Republican Party. But let's continue forward because I really do think this is it.
a whole. And if we do nothing here, we don't deserve our positions. We shouldn't have been elected to these positions if we were elected to do nothing. So I disagree with the chair. I hope you guys will support me and appeal this ruling so that we can make a motion and give some closure to the aggrieved parties here.
Yeah, we're just getting into parliamentary stuff now.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. That was it for this evening, I believe. Thank you so much, Stephen Ecker. I truly, truly appreciate it. So, as I promised, this was an excruciating detail, but we got some laughs out of this. I definitely am going to extract out some of those golden clips by Chris Crawford, who outdid Will McVeigh. And definitely objection speculative, because that is going to be in regular rotation on my show now. My God. My absolute God. And the LNC couldn't do anything. They couldn't even send, at least as of yet, perhaps they still will, a strongly worded letter, as Dustin says. This has revealed some holes, I think, in our national bylaws that are going to take some careful thought, because you don't want to overfix them. You don't want to have a knee-jerk reaction to this, this exploitation and then go too far in the other direction. What are my predictions on what's going to happen? My prediction is this is all going to end up being floor fights in Reno. And let me tell you what the problem is here. I don't think Whitney Bilyeu is going to properly handle challenging of delegates. I think she's going to lose her shit like she does in these meetings. But then I would encourage the convention delegates to vote to remove her as convention chair and to appoint a chair pro tem. I know some people have wanted to do that right off the bat, and I'm like, that's not fair. I wouldn't do that. If she's chairing well, who cares? If she's chairing well, that means she's being impartial. It doesn't matter whether you like her or not. But I have a feeling that within the first hour of convention, she's going to give more than just cause to call for her removal as convention chair. I hope I'm wrong. My second problem is I don't think Susan Hogarth is equipped as credentialing committee chair to handle this. Susan Hogarth does just fine as credentialing committee chair when things go as they're supposed to go. But when things go at all a little haywire, we saw how fucked up she got in 2020. So I am super concerned. And just super concerned. So my prediction is there's going to be multiple delegations challenged. I do think there's a good chance that there's going to be multiple states which will have no seated delegates. I think there's a very good chance that Whitney will not be chairing this convention. And I think there's a very good chance that they may also move for someone else to be handling credentialing as well. That will be very difficult, though, because a lot of planning goes into that. But if Emily Salvette is there, she's an experienced credential committee's chair. She would be somebody to, if Susan can't handle it, and maybe Susan will, maybe she'll rise to the occasion. I'm more confident that Whitney is not going to be able to handle it than I am that Susan's not going to be. And thank you very much for... Justin, give me a call. Give me a call, please. I would love to chat with you on this. But, perhaps Susan will do fine. And full disclosure, I voted for Susan to be credentialing committee chair. I've seen her do a good job. And I hope Whitney learns how to be impartial. But in any event, Jesse, again, thank you for the super chat. And JJ, I said the quiet part out loud, I guess. And I hope you guys have an awesome night. Go listen to Justin O'Donnell's show, because apparently Terra de Sisto was Terra de Sisto. And you'll want to hear that. Eventually, I probably will cover that as well. Once I heard about it, I did file another written complaint to the National Party, because they keep trying to, say that you have to follow the proper procedures. So I did, and I guarantee you that nothing will be done. And I copied Joshua Smith on that since he's the one who got censured. And the reason he brought it up publicly is because he knows damn well nothing gets done when you do it privately, because I've been complaining for over a year. All right, guys, I hope you have an awesome night. Got some things to do. And got to spend some time with the husband. I have probably the best husband on earth that just puts up with me spending all of this time. But I love you all, and I will talk to you soon. Mi guapas de libertad.
What you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in a business.